That clock on the wall is fast.
We're live.
That's fine. That's right. We still have a minute. So. That's right. No, you are fine.
How full the room is.
Yep.
Actually, the free Super Bowl tickets are being given away at the county courthouse if you're here for that.
It's now 6 o'clock. We'll call to order the commission meeting for February 7th, 2023. We'll start with a roll call.
Josh Jones.
Here.
Tim Van Hookie.
Here.
Edwin Woolhoff. Here. Katie Harrington.
Here.
Matthew Wells.
Here. If you will, please rise. Flex. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you will, bow your heads. Lord God, this evening we would like to come before you and to praise you for a moment. To thank you, Lord God, for all that you do for us, for the blessings that we see and for the blessings that we do not see. We want you to know, Lord God, that we honor you because you are mighty and you are wonderful to be praised. To you belongs all the glory. And we thank you, Lord God, for looking down upon us this evening and being here with us. I ask, Lord God, that you would guide our discussion this evening. Allow us to speak with words that bring quick attention to what we're trying to say. Allow us, Lord God, to be able to communicate efficiently and without angst. Let us, Lord God, be the people that bring peace to situations where the world would tell us there would be no peace. Because we, Lord God, look to you for the guidance and for the direction. Give us wisdom this evening, Lord God. Allow us to look to you for the answers, to know what we should do in the decisions that need to be made. And allow us to be good stewards, Lord God, of what you have placed in our care. Lord God, we always ask you to be mindful in protecting those who protect us. Guide and watch over our first responders, Lord God. Be with the firemen, the policemen, and those paramedics, the EMS people, Lord God, who watch over us each and every night and each and every day. And we thank you, Lord God, for the blessing of your Son, Jesus, and the salvation that he brought to us with his sacrifice upon the cross. And it is in Jesus' holy and precious name that we pray. Amen. We'll start this evening by asking if there are any changes that need to be made to the agenda.
Yeah, I would just, we need to take off, under appearances, take off E. And then, so I make a motion to take off E and also make a motion to take old business A and move it down to the last thing under new business.
A second.
Do you want it as?
It'd be item G
Item
under
G,
new
under
business. We have a motion and a second.
Edwin Woolhoff.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookie.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes. We will now move forward with the agenda as we have voted on it. First, we'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I just had a couple of questions on the consent agenda. On on the carts out at the course, that's a lease. I mean, we're at no point going to own those carts, correct?
Correct. It's a lease program. What we'll do is, once that lease is up, we will get a new set of carts.
Okay. All right. And the other question was looking at the fuel invoice that was on here. I don't know if it was a typo or not, but if you reference the last two items on the bill, they both came to $522.35. Was that a duplicate, or did we actually hit the pump exactly for wastewater treatment plant and wastewater for that amount?
I'll have to look into that.
And good. Jason walked in. The third thing was that I had off of it was just a little clarification. So Jason, we're getting a change order. Amounts to be just about $9,000 because we were waiting on utility crews to. I think it was the gas company and one of the phone companies didn't get it moved in time, so it's going to cost us more for the contractor to mobilize his guys.
Yeah, essentially it's for them to come back and finish. So the first change order was $8,500 for
Yeah.
that ditch work, which is where they exposed the gas line.
Mm-hmm.
And then because they had to wait so long, they had to leave. So they got to remobilize, come back and finish. But they also found a phone line over at 15th and National. So that's not, well, obviously that's not done yet. So I think change order 2 is $6,500, which is what we're needing approved tonight. Just the change order. The work's not done.
Okay.
yet.
Well,
You're
I thought we had done one of these once before.
Yes.
Do you,
That was for the ditch along Crawford. So that was additional work.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all the questions I had.
On the fuel, were you talking about the Judy's?
Yeah. At the bottom, those two figures are exactly.
I think what
the
they
same.
do is it's all
Split it.
one, and it's just broken down.
It's split. They split over 2 GLs.
Okay. It's that price of gas today. I can't get the thing to stop on an even number. How'd they do it? And I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Katie Harrington,
Yes.
Edwin Woolhoff. Yes. Matthew Wells.
Yes. Do we have anyone signed up for public comments this evening?
I think you have everyone signed up for public comment.
Thank you. First, we'd like to invite Ann Rollins to address us. And Ann, if you would, please speak into the mic for the folks at home. Thank you very much.
I try and tell you guys that every
Yes,
time
ma'am.
because I can't hear you on the video. And I have to get right up there and listen. Hello, I'm Ann Rollins and wish to talk about the location of the proposed splash pad. I am opposed to the prospective location as only memorial items surround the area north of Scubitz Plaza. This area is right next to a historic Fort Blair lunette, which is commonly called the Blockhouse, a historic cannon, and large and small areas memorializing our servicemen and women. Soon there will be a bronze plaque memorializing Mayhew Cemetery. Most of you don't know that yet, but it's just a week or two away. Did you know the DAR, or the Daughters of the Revolution, had title to the historic lunette? The two doctors owned it to preserve it, and Western Insurance owned it and restored the building to preserve it for the future. Why would we give license to children to swing on the fence, climb on the cannon, climb on the memorial stones, and to deface the lunette because there isn't anyone there to stop the children from doing what children do? The splash pad is being proposed to inhabit the same location as our memorials. This is a blatant disregard for our history. Please review the location of the splash pad in respect to the historic district. And those are the handouts. And you can tell by there about the area where this would be. I have supplied a copy of the historic district boundaries located in the design review guidelines and their introduction. Only historic items are to be placed in this area. The splash pad is not historic. Even pages 64 and 65 of the US 69 Corridor Management Plan, Bourbon County, January 2010, and I have the hefty thing here, by the Kansas Department of Transportation, discuss the downtown issues. This plan cost Fort Scott thousands of dollars. It talks about theming, placement, materials, speed and scale, architectural markers, and public art in the study area, trail markers, walls, interpretive, and wayfinding signage, and site furniture. The only things I heard mentioned in the design review board that comply is the possible stone walls and possibly the seating. Nothing anywhere talks about a park for children. Fort Scott has lots of parks where the splash pad could be a great addition. My concern is that there will be unattended children who will venture from the splash pad area to our memorial area. The memorial area then becomes a playground. Kids venture, kids explore. That is how they grow and mature. Local business people on Main Street and National Avenue will be the lookouts for children who are not where they belong, those that need to use the bathroom, a child who wants to find their parents who are off eating or shopping, and the noise issue for a large number of children playing and having fun. I think the splash pad is a great idea, but not in the historic district. It needs to be by the swimming pool where the splash pad will be in a park area and can be used for children waiting for their parents. It is also a great way for the children who can't afford the swimming pool to cool off in the summer. The other issue is that the water lines and filter system can be added to the swimming pool system. A grant was written requesting funds for the splash pad. I haven't heard, but did the grant specify this location or a location in Fort Scott? Has anyone checked the city insurance agent or with the agent? Will accidents from falling, being hit by a car in the parking lot or street, or will it cover repairs to the memorials at the same location? And finally, what about fencing off the splash pad so the children can't run around the area that is not a park? Ordinance 17.08.110, and you guys have that, fencing regulations is very stringent. Item 2 reads, the use of fencing in the historic district should be strongly discouraged unless the existence can be documented with historic photographic evidence. Please assist in maintaining the historic district. This area has had a lot of time, money, and labor over the years to create a quiet area of reflection of those who have worked so hard to give us a place to display our history. Thank you. Any questions, or just go sit down?
No. I would make two small comments. One, the Lynette Blair building is now under the ownership of the National Historic Site.
Right.
So the Daughters of the American Revolution no longer maintain that property. It's now maintained by the fort. I helped write the legislation to get that.
That's true.
process.
They were the original
Yes,
owners.
ma'am.
That's what I was
Yes,
trying
ma'am.
to show
Okay.
is a chain of ownership.
And then I believe Josh or Bailey could verify this, the grants are specific to the downtown area. Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, I appreciate you
Because
coming.
none
and-
of us knew that.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You better appreciate me.
I do. You know that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We now ask Kate Freeman to come forward and address us this evening.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor Wells and Commission. Can you hear me in here?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kate Freeman. My husband and I just opened the Artificers Art Gallery and Studio at 8 North National, so we are in close proximity to said splash pad. I am here this evening to speak in favor of the splash pad and Sensory Park as being approved, as well as the location. I'm not going to lie, at first I had reservation. I think Josh knows that. At first I had reservation. So I reached out to a couple of committee members face-to-face or in a private conversation and had my questions answered and concerns set at ease. At first thought, I said every soggy little girl is going to come through my gallery and want to use my pink bathroom with my sparkly chandelier. I was 100% annoyed. 100% annoyed. Then, as I thought about it, I thought, how selfish of me. What if that soggy little girl walks in and sees a beautiful place that welcomed her in, and she got to see fantastic art and decided to be an artist when she grew up? Trent and I are dreamers, except we follow through. Our dreams don't die, ever. So I ask you to dream of this. A family comes to downtown. They take a clay class from us in the morning. They go for burgers and fries at the New Grill. They tour the fort, and the dad hangs out with the kids at the splash pad while mom spends money and shops at the boutiques and antique stores. They all meet back up after a great day downtown. Who has benefited from this? First of all, the family, which I think is super important. Second, the artificers, us. The fort, because they're learning history. I don't love history. I didn't love history. My husband has made me love history. And I enjoy the memorials. I enjoy going to see the memorials now. And I have grandparents that are they are buried in the National Cemetery in Leavenworth. And I enjoy those things now. I did not before, but if there was something fun next to it, I would certainly do the fort so that I could go to a splash pad. So the fort. The New Grill benefits. Possibly E3 if they buy E3 burgers at the New Grill. Any boutique or antique store where purchases are made. Also the city because of those retail shops and restaurants that pay taxes. The splash pad is a privately paid for, low-cost upkeep for the city, approved by the fort as well as the Design Review Board. A fantastic attraction. It should be 100% approved by this commission. And I thank you for your time. If I have a little bit more time, I'm so glad the Design Review Board passed that. And I have a huge upsetted heart at the Eagle Block beside me. And none of those people stood with me in the parking lot across from the Eagle Block as I watched it be demolished. And it was heart-wrenching. I stood there alone in that parking lot and watched that building come down, hoping mine didn't go with it, or Sharky's for that. So when we speak about saving things in the downtown, this shouldn't be an issue. Buildings that are coming down should be the issue. We should be standing by the people who are worried about these buildings. That should be the issue. Because I stood there alone, trying to hold back tears. And I don't put this face forward very much, but that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do alone because my husband had to be in Kansas City that day with his daughter. So that is why I chose to speak tonight, because this is very important. This is important for kids. This is important for kids with handicaps that can come in and use the space. As well as it is in close proximity to me. No, I didn't want kids coming in my store, in my place wet. But you know what? I'm over it. Kids are coming in my place wet. I don't care. I'll find them a towel. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Kate. Last, we'd invite Eddie to come forward and speak to us this evening.
I'll be brief. Thanks for having me. Last time I was here, I spoke, and because I live in Olathe, I'm a little late on getting the paper, and my name was plastered throughout the paper, and I had no idea that was going to go on, but I just wanted to reiterate that I never said I was against the splash pad. I had questions on the location, and I had questions on the upkeep. They were answered. I applaud the committee for the hard work. I know you've had a lot of a fight on your hands, but I just wanted to clarify that I was never against this. I just had questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And that will conclude our public comments for this evening. We'll move on to old business. The only item that we have is consideration of the splash pad location.
Yeah, I think we have Bailey, Katie, Meredith and Kelly here. And this is basically the same presentation that was presented to the Parks Board and the Design Review Board.
First of all, thanks for giving us the time to speak tonight. I feel like a lot of work and time and effort has culminated to be here. We're thrilled to have a new development. I'm sure you're all aware that we did receive the approval from Design Review Board and Parks Board last week. So we as a committee come to you as kind of a final step. I'm Bailey Lyons. This is Meredith Tucker, Katie Houston, Kelly Barr, and Josh Jones. We make up a completely volunteer committee. All of us are doing this because it's something that we're passionate about for a lot of different reasons. But you have probably heard by now, we've had to keep it under wraps for a bit, but we're thrilled to say that what started as a plan for a splash pad has now evolved because of the demonstrated need in our community. So the idea for a splash pad started because we needed an all-inclusive park here that was accessible to everyone. And it was an amenity that's popping up all around us, literally all around us, in other communities of the similar size demographic as us. And we didn't have one yet, so that's kind of how it started. But as we really dove into this and what the needs were of the community, we decided that we wouldn't be making a truly inclusive, accessible park if we didn't add a dry play area. There are individuals, adults, and kiddos alike that have sensory issues with water or have mobility devices that don't allow them to get wet. And so for a number of different reasons, we added a dry play area that is sensory items and harmony items that are 100% accessible and inclusive to anyone. So this park is now Fort Scott's first and only, would be Fort Scott's first and only fully accessible park that has no barrier based on cost, age, or mental or physical ability level. So we believe this park will improve the quality of life and community engagement by providing an outdoor recreational amenity that encourages and fosters socialization and inclusion for all demographics. We have, I believe you guys got this presentation in advance. It is a similar presentation. We've evolved it a bit from some things that came up at Design Review Board and Parks Advisory Board. But we talked about, do we kind of want to glaze over this or do we want to do it again? And for some folks in the room that may have not heard it before, we're going to go through our presentation. And at the end, we'll welcome questions from you guys. So I'll turn it over to Kelly.
All right. Hello, guys. Thank you for having us. So the first page in your booklet is going to be, why did we choose downtown? We've done our research. We've spoken to other communities close to Fort Scott and far away with similar demographics and larger communities. The success of these splash pads is in a more centrally located downtown area is overwhelming. Communities gather together in these spaces, interact with each other when they normally wouldn't have. If you want to pull out your phone, Google splash pad near veterans community parks. There's an abundant amount of splash pads next to these veterans parks. And it quite honestly opens the door of communication for children to get the Veterans Park more visibility than it would have without an additional attraction. This contributes to the revitalization of a vibrant, growing community district, supports amenities such as restaurants, retail, museum, event space, and lodging. Skubitz Plaza was chosen, like I said, with a lot of research going into it. The accessibility, visibility, the infrastructure is there. It's safe, proximity to other businesses to help support them, and cost effectiveness as well. Other sites have been ruled out for a lot of these reasons. Infrastructure, flooding, parking, cost to build. And I mean, quite honestly, this is just such a centrally located area. We thought it would be best for the entire community.
We do realize that there's no perfect location. A lot, as Kelly said, were considered, and a lot of time went into considering them and ruling them out. we're not going to stand up here and hold the mic for an hour tonight to talk about all of that. But if you have any specific questions, we would be happy to answer those at the end. But please know that we have done our due diligence. We've done our research. We've talked to other communities. We've talked to the people that specialize in these parks. And for a vast number of reasons, we ultimately decided that the best location for Fort Scott and Bourbon County was to put it at the proposed location on Scubits, which, if you will look, we should have said at the beginning, this rendering is a brand new rendering that shows the splash pad on one page and the Sensory and Harmony Park on the other with the sidewalks connecting them. That is the blockhouse, the fort, the Evergy building in the background. So that is actually a rendering of the space. And then on that second page, the site analysis page, that's an overview rendering of the exact site as well. So just to give you something visual there. On the splash pad part, you guys have heard us talk about this, so I'm not going to go into this too much, but it wasn't a willy-nilly design. Again, this is something that was hours upon hours and revision upon revision. The elements were specifically selected to appeal to a vast range of ages and mobility and ability levels. We have designed a park that we're super proud of. I personally can't wait to see families enjoying the park down there. And if they visit the fort or they go check out the memorials that haven't grabbed their attention before, personally, I think that that's a very positive thing. I have not seen a sign at the memorials that say no children are allowed there. So I'm not sure, keeping the children from there, if our intent is to not have kids there at the memorials, maybe that sign needs to go up. But personally, I think that's very inhibiting. I think, you always hear people talk about wanting kids to be more involved in the history, and I think making it more inclusive to where they want to be down there at the fort, they want to be down there among the memorials. And you know what? If people are going to disrespect a public place, they're going to do that no matter what, not just because they're down there for the splash pad. So just know those are actual renderings that you're seeing there of our proposed splash pad. Those are the features that we've selected. That is the color scheme that we've selected. We have involved the fort in our design phase, and some of the revisions came because of the input that they provided. So we picked, I don't know, you guys probably have not dug into splash pads as much as we have, but they can be very fun and whimsical and bright and quirky. And we chose to go with something that was more pared down. The elements are shorter elements so that not to impede the sight line with the fort. We went with darker primary colors at the fort's request, and we do not have uplighting on our features also to not impede the night skyline, is that what you call it, Jill? Okay, so I have heard a lot of questions about the fort, and please know that they were involved in this process, and we appreciate their willingness to give us their opinion on how to make this the best possible park for all of us that would share a space there. Splash pads are interactive zero-depth water playgrounds with intentionally designed features. They're made to foster physical and social development, provide sensory stimulation for everyone. There's no barriers to enjoyment, like I said, and it encourages interaction for all. I'm going to let Josh touch briefly on our specific splash pad, the system that we selected and why, the utilities, maintenance, upkeep, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's two different main ones: the flow through and the recirc. The recirc, you have to have chemicals, and basically someone there every day testing the water, treating the water. The flow through, basically someone go there maybe once a week to make sure no vandals or nothing like that has happened. Other than that, it's pretty maintenance free. Like I said, there's no chemicals, so there's no. I know some people have said sickness happens but this is, like I said, just regular water running in the storm water, so there's no. Yes, yeah. The water. I know there's some questions on the water usage, and our system right now. Our system right now runs about 1 billion gallons a year, and this will average about 5,000 gallons a day on a 365-day average. So it's only open about usually Memorial Day to September till Labor Day. So during the days it's open, you use a bit more. But if you go on a yearly basis, it factors in to about 5,000 a day, and our system runs 2.7 million gallons a day, so it's very minimal. In that area, the pressure is actually too strong, so we got to put a reducer on it to reduce down. Is there anything else I'm missing? Yeah.
Where does the runoff go to?
It will run off to the stormwater. So we had Bill Lemke up there, and the stormwater's right there. So it'll run off right to the stormwater.
And we have involved in the city. We appreciate Brad's been involved, Bill's been involved. We have had heavy involvement, of course, from the professionals in the splash pad and park world. They've marked out any lines or utilities or anything like that we need to.
Yeah, this isn't just us. They have an engineer. We're working with an engineer on their staff that builds this. So I mean, the company we're using is a local-ish. They're from Gates Center, is that right? Or somewhere around there. And they've done Pittsburgh, Chanute, locally, Parsons, and so I mean, it's not just us, designing this. So it's actual, like I said, they have an engineer on staff we use.
So from the time they would be to break ground, what's the estimated completion?
So if once approved, they would start breaking ground hopefully right away. We're shooting for the beginning of May, but we're saying Memorial Day just in case of rain. But
as far as opening goes,
break ground right away.
Because I know there's been concern with good old days and with other functions that take place.
Addressed that in multiple meetings with this.
We've
addressed that.
You have.
Not with you. I'm saying we have told the company that will be doing the construction. Okay. We've made it a priority that they are out and this is open by the last day of May. And we've told them how much traffic is down there and that we want people to be able to enjoy this with good old days. So please know that we have made that a huge priority and everybody involved knows that, including the people that would be managing the project construction wise.
And then is this most accurate?
It is, and I'm going to touch on that at the
on
end.
Here. And is that turnkey, or are we going to need to do some of the install and stuff with city crews?
I'm going to touch on that at the end.
Okay.
My name is Meredith Tucker. I'm a pediatric physical therapist and owner of No Limits Rehabilitation down. Oh,
put your mic closer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's fine. Meredith Tucker, physical therapist and owner of No Limits Rehabilitation downtown. I'm going to touch on why this is so important. I'm going to try to hold it together better than I did with parks because I'm pretty emotional when it comes to talking about these kiddos and these families. And I'm very passionate about this project to be able to really provide an inclusive opportunity for all our families. The water park, the splash pad park is amazing, but as Bailey had touched on, it doesn't allow kiddos who have use of power chairs, adults who have power chairs who bring their children to it. It doesn't allow kids who get overstimulated with water. It doesn't allow them to have an escape route or a place to go enjoy other activities. So by adding the 2 dry zones, we provide that opportunity to make a year-round functional, fully inclusive park that allows access for both adults and children who have special needs, whether it be sensory, mobility, the requirement of using an assistive device. Our design includes both musical instruments to provide deregulation when kiddos get overstimulated or to help them find a way to communicate with others when maybe language is a challenge. We also have a wheelchair accessible merry-go-round that allows children to wheel in. It has a bench they can sit down if they don't have the ability to maintain a balance. It also allows children to be able to push that merry-go-round on their own without having any assistance. The other 2 options that are there are 2 Swizzler chairs. They're help challenge the vestibular balance. It helps develop trunk control. And again, it allows peer-to-peer interaction. The biggest goal of this is to help children of all abilities engage together. We've really paired items up together to allow peer-to-peer play, whether there's a language difference, a physical difference, it doesn't matter. It allows them to engage together. It allows families to be seen in our community. It allows them to be seen and honored in our downtown. Because not a lot of downtowns historically are very accessible, but this brings them to the forefront and lets our families know that they are seen and they are heard and they are wanted in our downtown community.
So as I stated before, we have done our extensive research on other communities with downtown splash pads. Page, is that page? Okay. There's a couple listed in your booklet with photos attached. So I'll list it off for the people behind me: Fayetteville, Arkansas; Cheyenne, Wyoming; Twin Falls, Idaho; Fort Collins, Colorado; Nashville, and Fairfax. These, the revitalization of a historical downtown is a huge key for us. Like Bailey said, we worked with the fort in the design, and we really want to make this cohesive and like it's supposed to be here. Splash pads are where the people are. Splash pads are where the people are. So we want to put ours where the people are. We want to bring more business to downtown, bring tourism to Fort Scott, and bring a reason for all families, not just parents or kids or whoever. We want everyone to enjoy this together.
Finally, historically, downtowns have always been a place where families are to gather, community members gather, where music was played, children played together. That's what downtown squares were for, and that's what we're hoping to also bring this back together. We sent you a very large stack of 50 plus letters from community members, families, businesses downtown in support of this this project. And so we just wanted to touch on a few of those letters just to kind of give you an idea of why this park is so valued by our community members. We are excited that all of our students, including those that are so very special, will have a place to go. Destry Brown, Superintendent of USD 234. Let's see here. The splash pad is an oasis for all families to come and have fun without worrying about who can participate. Any project provides family fun for all children is worthwhile effort. Rachel French, Lillian Rose Foundation. The splash pad will provide a safe and accessible recreational asset that will impact our residents' quality of life, expand the local economy, bring visitors to nearby commercial establishments, diversity to our amenities to meet a varied interest and age ranges. Lizzie Madison, Chamber of Commerce. Now this is where I'm probably going to fall apart, people, so bear with me. Not only is a splash pad, dry area, and adaptive equipment provide opportunities for building strength, endurance, and calming activities, it provides an opportunity for an inclusive environment. There's nothing more heartwarming than observing a typically developing child play alongside, interacting with a child with special needs. This is a sense of belonging, togetherness, and acceptance, and friendships for a win-win of all. Donna Davis, special needs parent and former SPED teacher. Our most basic human needs is having the sense of belonging. All of us want to be included, loved, and respected. We all want friends. We all want to feel like our contributions are important, and we want this within our power to do our part in fulfilling that and those needs around us. We want to make the effort to learn about others' points of views and to include them and welcome them in different from ourselves, and we all should be doing better for that. Brittany Halsey, special needs mama. Until you have a child with a disability, you can never understand the heartbreak of your child when you see other children participating and things that are not safe for them, that hold no space for them. Subsequently, when a community sees this needs, it creates a space for them in mind and communicates to them that they are valued by their community and that they belong to. Jenny Wilcox, special needs mama. It's also apparent, as a parent of a sensory child, it is to interact and connect with them in ways that may be difficult at home, thus bearing the quality of life for both the parent and the child in establishing a deepened bond. Gabrielle Fest, special needs mama. I've driven to Pittsburgh multiple times to take my children to their splash pad, where it is next to an inclusive playground, which has caused me to eat lunch there and spend my money shopping there. Many families in surrounding neighborhoods will drive to Fort Scott to play and spend their money in town. Nevada currently does not have a pool and recently lost their movie theater, so I'm confident that families will make the trip to enjoy the splash pad and spend their money in town where they might not have otherwise. Maggie Thompson, special needs mama. They live in between Fort Scott and Nevada. This would be a place for all my children to be able to interact with amongst themselves, but also with other community members, the Morellas. This young man is actually here in the audience. I'm gonna read for it. DJ, you're gonna kill me. All right. This young man is 12 now and probably not going to be able to play on a playground much now, but he is an uncle of 2 little boys that he's very proud of. He has no way of playing with his nephews and at the playground or in a pool setting. He can't interact with his nephews while they play because he cannot get his walker to where they are. Making an all-inclusive playground where he can play and interact with his nephews would be wonderful. I was ecstatic to hear about the plan for the new splash pad. It will not only provide for these children, but all children for a place to come together and have fun. Afton hires speech and language pathologist for USD 234. Although there seems like a lot of space in Gun Park, it's important to remember that much of the north half occasionally floods, including the access road. Furthermore, vandalism in Gun Park is going to be an issue that would challenge this area and would jeopardize this significant investment. I became 100% supportive for this project when I learned the intent to make it all inclusive and handicap accessible with multiple sensory stations for the disabled. For me personally, for the granddaughter who has disabilities, I've become more aware of the needs for these types of amenities in the community. Frank Halsey, Parks Committee. The proposed location for the splash pad is highly ideal for most individuals and speak to the fort and the historic downtown is when we're thinking of Fort Scott. It's easy to access the splash pad and park and beneficiary for both youth and elderly participants. Christopher Cataloni, Parks Board. All right, this is the last one, and this is going to be a hard one for me to get. My daughter loves to play with her cousins. I think a splash pad would be a fantastic way for them to connect and to give her equal chance to participate in the same activities as everyone else. The downtown area is a perfect location for children who may require an outlet for oxygen monitors, feeding pumps, electric wheelchairs, or any other medical equipment in the event of emergency, as they are known to lose charge fairly quickly. We are beyond excited for her to be able to play in a public area for the first time. Unless you're a special needs parent, you do not realize how big the small things can be, and this is so big for us. It truly means the world to me as a mother. The Nash family is special needs family. So that only touches on a few of the reasons why we are so passionate about this project and why we wanted to bring it downtown so that these families can be seen and feel part of our community fully. Now, we are very aware that there are concerns about the placement of this park. And so we wanted to address those, and so that we know that you guys are heard, the concerns that have been brought up to us. One of the big concerns that we heard was the access to a bathroom. And so some people are saying we're doing it in the wrong order. We need a bathroom first before we get a park. So part of the reason why we're doing the order is many of the grants you have to prove a need. But what's really easy in this community to prove a need for an accessible park. But currently there's a bathroom at the Old Fort and there's one 2 blocks down. So it doesn't prove a need for a bathroom. We can prove the need for a park, which then in turn we can prove for a fully 100% accessible bathroom in close proximity. So we can build on that grant. And so I think we're all committed to seeing that through and helping to continue to reach out grants and fundraising once this has been established as a need. Another concern was safety. And that's a concern with any park, no matter where you place it, is road access, parking lots. And unfortunately, there is no 100% safety guarantee. And so, but we felt that between Old Fort Boulevard, with it being slower traffic, with the close proximity of the road on the north and south sides of that park, would help reduce that. And you also have the parking lot buffer. I know fencing has been brought up, and especially for children with sensory needs who have a tendency to be elopement concerns. That again is something we can definitely work towards, and again we can build a need for that as for further grants and fundraising down the road. The other issue was children being unsupervised in the area, and again that's an issue with any park no matter where it was placed. And we hope that our parents in our community respect that and respect our businesses and respect the safety of their children, that will not be an issue. But that's again something we can't guarantee no matter where the park was placed. Anything else I was missing? I think that was it.
And I do want to note that when we reached out, we did our best. We all work full-time jobs and are doing this on the side, but we made a huge effort between walking the streets, reaching out, calling businesses, to reach out to all the businesses that we could downtown. And all of them were told that if they were in favor of it, we would love to present their letter. But if they are not in favor of it, for transparency's sake, we will still present their letter. So you had a few in your packet that voiced some of these concerns that Meredith covered. So we did not just give you the letters that were positive. Those were every single letter that we received, we have provided to you guys. I also forgot. Yes, we have designed some decals that we were going to give for free to any business that wants them. One says splash pad patrons welcome, please dry off. So it'll be a window cling that they'll get for free that they can stick by their front door if they so choose. And another one, if they don't already have one, just says no public bathroom, since that has been some concerns. Again, there's no way to make this a perfect scenario, but we have really tried our best as a committee to mitigate the concerns that people have brought up. We're not going to eliminate all of them, but we've tried to mitigate them. And I also think it's neat. Jill was telling us that the fort is actually, Carl's working on some signage that will pull families, and they're specifically geared towards children, will pull them to the fort. What an awesome way to look at this. Maybe we should put some signage up at the memorials that break it down to a kid's level, that tell them what those are and to please respect why they should respect those memorials and that ground, instead of making them think that we don't want them there. Maybe we should make it seem like something that they're interested in. I will be honest, I'm embarrassed to admit this. I've not ever taken my kids down to the memorials, and I have 3 children. So maybe this draws people in. And I think the fort, I just love the way that they're looking at this as how can we cross partner and make this something that draws in more youth and more family. And I think we can all probably take a page out of their book and try to do the same, because our downtown is not a huge draw for children and families. And hopefully this is something that will change that. Tim, we're about to wrap up, but to get to your point or your questions on the cost. So as we had told you before, when we were just talking about Splash Park, the all-in cost is $200,000. Our addition of the Sensory and Harmony Park is $85,000. I'm talking in round numbers here, but you actually have all of the specifics down to the exact bids and the exact elements. We are estimating about $25,000 minimum for landscaping and benches. We want this to be cohesive, aesthetically pleasing. We want it to flow with downtown. We don't just want to stick it there and it not look appropriate. So there's been much discussion about the stone columns that run along the fort, using those as a visual barrier. And landscaping. The garden club is eager to help us with this project and landscaping, so it looks great. So our all-inclusive, all-in cost for this park is a little over $310,000. We have currently raised $180,000, and we are incredibly grateful that the Parks Board voted to allocate to us the funds that were raised when YAT first started. I looked it up, and it was 2007 that the youth activities team first did their first event. So this idea has been going on in our community for well over a decade, and we appreciate the Parks Board trusting us to be good stewards with those funds. So they will be, that $37,000 will go towards this project. And then we are anticipating at a conservative level, a reduction of that all-in cost by $30,000 in in-kind work. So with that, that leaves us $63,000 left to fundraise, and we're incredibly confident in our ability to do so, and have 3 more grants in process right now, as well as some other interested private donors in the community.
When you say in-kind work, is that from private contractors or the city, or where would that be coming from?
All of the above. So we've spoken to private contractors that are happy to help with the project. Every other community we've talked to, the city, Public Works and Streets Department have helped with some of the ground prep and things like that. So we're certainly hopeful that the city would help us in that regard. But I guess that's your choice. If the city chooses not to, we will look at other avenues. We're going to find a way to do this.
Sure.
So yes, we are incredibly confident in our ability to do this. As Josh said, the plans are to break ground next week if weather permits, and you give us your vote of approval. This will be open and ready for the kiddos and families of this community to use this summer, and those traveling through Fort Scott.
Yeah, one thing like the city could offer is just their buying power, like on the pipe, the water lines or something.
I was just trying to get a
reduce-
general
yeah.
idea that we'll be getting into road season and everything else. and
I'd
make sure
say 95% is going to be done private. I've already reached out to some people doing the groundbreaking, the concrete and stuff like that. And so,
And again, this cost is if we didn't do anything. This cost is, so the only thing that we're knocking off this cost is $30,000. And in meeting with these companies and discussing with local contractors and trades folks, we think that's an incredibly conservative number. There is another question that's come up quite a bit is there room for expansion? And the way that we did this with the splash pad and a sidewalk to a dry area and a sidewalk to a dry area does leave us room if in the future this is something that the community wants to prioritize, we can definitely do a sidewalk to another pad, and it's just kind of a little windy park. And picnic tables,
You're putting benches out there, right?
benches, picnic tables. We have avoided shade canopies because of height and concerns from the fort, but we do plan for the landscaping to provide some shade opportunities. So,
And did you say representative of the fort was here?
Jill is here, and Jill spoke at the parks.
Can I ask her one question?
Go for it.
It's just something I've heard from some folks, and you might need to come up to the microphone if that's okay. I know some.
We're just gonna start taking you along on our circuit.
And again, I'm just asking questions that have been posed to me. A concern was brought up by the fact that to the earlier point raised that there's you're the closest bathroom pretty much, as is New Grill and whatever.
Yes.
And some people are concerned of what kids going in and out, those old floors you have in there and stuff like that. Now these signs that were given out, you guys aren't allowed to put
Correct.
a no public restroom sign or
we are not
or
allowed
no
to
wet body
prohibit
sign
the
up in
general
there as
public
well.
from coming to.
So how would you try and address that to protect?
Well, that was my biggest concern. Arriving here, knowing that this was already a possibility. The fort does not oppose the location, but the bathrooms are a major concern for us. Ours are not built for this carrying capacity, and so I'm looking at my staffing. We're going to have wet floor signs up pretty much the entire time the fort's open. My concerns were also that the splash pad is open later than the fort in the summer. So what happens when their public restroom that is the closest closes, and there's still several hours where the splash pad could be open? Are people going to go back behind the stables, and do whatever? I think I've been told that part of this will be phase 2 would be adding the restroom.
Yeah.
And that right now they're looking at the cost for the restroom for Gun Park to see kind of an idea. So the
maybe
question
there's a
I
means
have is,
we could put a porta potty or something down there in the end. Well, I'm just saying, I'm with you. I would like to not think about,
yeah, right. I mean,
kids got to go to the bathroom. Kids
Right.
got to go to the bathroom. Why not?
We're
maybe
gonna be the
come up with
closest
something
thing.
that the city can provide
We've
temporarily.
talked about that, and then it's just such a fine line with blending it in.
I know.
And then, but like I said, I know.
But how
New
blended
Grill,
in is if you walk around the back of the fort
Right.
and step in something
Well, I
that
wouldn't-
someone left there
I'm
the
not
night before.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that because New Grill, the Artificers, Sharkies,
Sure.
Papa Don's, La
Yes.
Hacienda, they're all right there. All of them have wrote letters of support, and I think they would pick that before behind the
right.
stables.
Well, I mean,
We
yes,
hope.
that
We
that
hope.
would be the worst case scenario,
Yeah.
obviously. I mean,
We also do plan to put on our signage that there is a public restroom 2 blocks to the south.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
we will work with whoever right now, and until this thing actually opens, if it's approved, and we see what the carrying capacity is, then we'll
Well,
try
my
and deal with
initial thought on when some folks had approached me on like you're just taking care of your floors and stuff
Yeah.
at the fort was, well, gosh, why can't they just put a sign up there that says, no wet people allowed in the bathroom?
we-
But I understand now
Right,
since you're a federal park,
Correct.
you can't do that.
that. We cannot do that.
But yeah, all of the folks that wrote letters that said, hey, if a kid needs to use my bathroom,
Mhm.
come on in and use it. I applaud that. I think it's great. I hope you still feel the same way at the end of August, but I do applaud, that's the community stepping up and doing that. I think that's great. But I guess my biggest concern with this is, and don't get me wrong, I want this to happen, is I do understand and sympathize with folks' concerns about the location of it. Some people that are new here to town, like Mr. Townley was down here, they have this vision of the historic district. I was kind of the same way. I'm a disabled veteran. I love the memorial down there. I've been there all the time. And yeah, kids will be kids and they're going to climb on it. But what I would ask us to do as a community is there's been a lot of stuff out there on social media attacking people that were for the splash pad, people that were against the splash pad, people that worked so hard to get the splash pad. What we need to do is make sure we respect each other's feelings. Miss Rollins is a historian. She works for the Genealogy Society. People were upset when the Eagle Block building fell. A lot of our treasures are the people that we've had in this town forever that to them change is frightening. So I'm not saying anybody's wrong or anybody's right. I just think the most important thing is that we respect each other's feelings and how we feel about something going forward, because we do need progress and we do need new stuff here, but I would hate to see something that's so positive coming forward to our community divide us. So that's all I got to say.
I will say one thing that Arnold Schofield pointed out, and Arnold surprisingly was one that approved this location. Yeah. This was the area to gather and to meet when people came to town to sell goods. I would think if a splash pad wasn't invented back then, this would be the prime spot for it, because this was the gathering spot where people spent all days. Even later on in life, this is where you went if you needed a job. People would come by and pick you up, and this is the meeting spot if you needed a job for the day. So this was the place to meet for families to sell goods, to gather up to meet. They hadn't seen each other in a while. This was the location, Arnold said, that was for it. So and I did some research afterwards. The oldest park in the United States, I believe, is in Boston Common, 1840s, 1850s. It was built with a pond, especially for kids. It was called the lily pad or toad. So they made, in 1840s, 1850s, basically a water park for kids in the oldest park. Yeah. And that was on the National Park Service's webpage. So I think the fort's doing great. We are bringing people, and as a business person, we are bringing people to their business. Hopefully they can capture sales, capture more people.
I'm opening up a towel and bathing suit shop right across the street.
Yeah, and it's my thought is if the pavilion goes, we could tie the bathroom into the pavilion somehow to hide it. Once we get the bids back from the gun park, we'll know a good number. But also, we have a bathroom right down here that's been known not to be kept up. Or open. So it's, that's another thing we have to think about. Also, is it something else we want to maintain?
I think eventually there's going to have to be something else down there, because what kid is going to want to run 2.5 blocks down to this other bathroom,
I will make note, though, quite a few of our area parks do not have access to public restrooms. So this will not be the only park in town that does not have a public restroom right there.
Yeah, Third Tree didn't have a usable restroom for a
long time.
Ellis.
And gun parks were mostly locked for a very long time. Ellis is only open when there's ball games. So, the bathrooms is not a one-off to this park. We don't have a park in town that has fencing, so that is not a one-off to this. This is not, we've actually gone out and walked it off. This is not the closest public play area that we have in town to a road is about 5 feet, and the cars go a lot faster. The way that Scubitz kind of winds along, this is by far the slowest traffic area out of all of them that we considered. And I will just say our committee has taken a lot of personal attacks, and we went into this looking to do something for the greater good. And by no means are we wanting to disrespect the memorials or anyone who fought to put those there. The fort, our history, our historians in town that, like you said, are treasures, Arnold, and we're so lucky to have you guys here. But our kids are treasures too, and our youth are our future. And if we
nobody said that they're not.
I'm just pointing out that they are, and if we keep that buffer, that buffer zone is up for a reason. We're also putting this in between 2 buildings, 3 actually, 1, 2, 3 in a row that are not historic buildings. So this will not be the first thing. Hopefully, if you approve this, this will not be the first thing that is not historic that goes in down there. And we hope that you realize that we've considered a lot of other alternatives and done due diligence on this, and we're really excited to bring this to the kiddos and the families in the community. We appreciate your time. We won't take up any more. If there's any more questions, we're happy to answer.
Any more questions?
Why is everybody looking at me?
Yeah, so our hope for today is just approve the location for us to move forward with putting the splash pad in the proposed area. So
I would move to approve the submitted splash pad location on Scubitz Plaza.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff.
He was muted.
He said he was still on.
Can you push that mute button?
Now he's muted.
Edwin, are you there?
Edwin?
Lisa, if you want to skip him and come back to it before.
All right. Josh Jones,
Abstain.
Tim Van Hookie,
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
So I just want to say that I've thought a lot about this. I've prayed a lot about this. My decision is based upon historical evidence of families having lunch and spending time together on that end of Scubitz Plaza, coupled with the fact that my wife's grandfather, Clarence Jones, is on the memorial that is down there. And he would be happy to have kids crawling or playing on that memorial because that's just the kind of guy that he was. And I can't wait for my niece, Isabel, who is a special needs child, to be able to come and play here. And I think that a man that I greatly respect said some very vital words. He said that this is a historic intrusion, and that is true. But I agree with him that it is a very good historical intrusion. So I will vote yes.
And Edwin voted yes.
We appreciate your support. We hope we make you proud. Thank you.
And I will say thank you. I mean, those ladies have put in a lot of time. As much as going down there throughout the week, different times of day, taking pictures of the parking lot, just checking parking. I mean, just little things like that to make sure everything was checked off in March. I appreciate it.
Bailey, you want to announce when your next event for raising money is?
Yes. So now that you know why we're still raising money, we still have a little bit of a gap to cover. Our next event, we're really excited to bring this to town. It's been a lot of work on the committee's part, but we're bringing Reza to town. He is the top touring illusionist in the world. He sells out shows all across the world, and we're going to have him right here in Fort Scott at a lot smaller venue than some of the ones he sells out. So it'll be an intimate show. We're about half sold out, I think, when we looked at the tickets. There's still, if you've been in Ellis, there's not a bad seat in the house. So get your tickets, and that will go to support this project. If you are interested in supporting this project in other ways, you can reach out to any of us, and we're happy to talk to you about whether that be through in-kind or financial donation or donation of your time. And
contact.
Yeah. The Reza show is next week. It's on Friday, the 17th at 7:00 p.m. at the Ellis Fine Arts Center on the campus of Fort Scott Community College. We appreciate them allowing us to host that there.
Who can they contact to get tickets?
You can call any of us and we can help you. And the link is plastered all over our Facebook page also. And then stay tuned for some other fundraisers we have in the works as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have an appearance scheduled by Pat Bishop, Fort Scott Land Bank Manager. Annual report and introduction.
Well, good evening. I'm Pat Bishop. I have been appointed as the Fort Scott Land Bank Manager as of the first of this year. Presently, I guess I'm still familiarizing myself with the job. I'm kind of a novice, obviously. I do have some great support from our board of trustees. They are mentoring me because they've been involved in the project for quite a while now. At present, I'll give you my annual report here in a second. Matter of fact, I'll just do it now. Got one for each member. This is an updated one. I didn't have some of the financials at the point in time that I prepared that, so this is an updated one. Basically, the Fort Scott Land Bank has on its inventory 47 properties here in Fort Scott, and most of them are vacant properties. I think there's only 8 or 9 properties that have any type of structure on them. The rest of them are non-productive, need some work, that kind of thing. So basically, it's my job is to get these pieces of property ready for sale or transfer by whatever means, and it just hopefully, make them productive piece of property that we get back on the tax roll. So that's my job. So It's going to involve probably some manual labor in cleaning up these properties. It's going to involve cleaning the title up to many of these properties. As you can see from my report there, 47 of these properties came from the 2 foreclosure sales that have been done in the last year. And so as a result of that, they come with some title issues. And so those are title issues that apparently devolves upon me to resolve. So I'm going to attempt to do that. I will say that since the preparation of this report and since January 31st when this was due, I have acquired 2 additional properties via donations. So we now have 49 properties in our inventory. So it's going to be my job to get these prepared for best use, and that's what I'm going to do. We have some cooperation from the city, obviously. We also have some cooperation from the county. Matter of fact, this county has donated an office for my usage. It's cell block 4 over in the old jail. They do let me out, and I'm not in there in handcuffs. Thank heaven. So, but anyway, this is an opportunity, I think, for the city of Fort Scott, and hopefully I can make good on the opportunity that you folks have given me to proceed here and maybe make our town more vibrant, more beautiful. So that's my job. So with that, unless there are questions, I have been introduced.
So for the people in our community that are interested in investing in these properties, what is the process?
Well, process is basically you get hold of me or any member of the board. We have an application process that they need to go through. We again, we prefer that, if somebody will acquire a piece of property and build, affordable housing on it, that type of thing. Now, we understand that not all of our properties are amenable to that. Some of these properties are near creeks and not wide enough, and things like that. So, but the prime properties, we would hope we could get to a position that they could build some housing on there. If not, there are other uses that the property, would maybe for public purposes. I know there are some landowners that have adjacent properties. They would just like to extend their lawns. Well, that's not going to be a primary consideration of the land bank. Again, we want to promote development as much as we can. So, but anyway, the process basically is you prepare an application. Obviously, we would consider. Well, we're going to consider money first of all. I mean, these properties are properties for sale for the most part. So, we're obviously going to look at the consideration involved, but also more importantly, we're going to look at the game plan. What do they want to do with this property as far as developing that type of thing? So money's not a total consideration by any stretch. So anyway, application needs to be filled out. We'll take a look at it. There will be a development agreement if offer is accepted. The individual purchasing it has to come up with as a game plan, as I said, develop the property, and they have to develop the property in accordance with like I say, their game plan. If frankly they do not adhere to the agreement, we have clawback provisions. And so these properties will be returned to the land bank. Well, I guess we'll start again. So, but basically, communicate with me, communicate with board members. We'll get the applications to you. We're hopeful to set up a website, maybe in conjunction with the city's website here. We're working on that, and so we be accessed through that. We have to provide annual inventory, a report of our inventory annually, and that type of thing, and there'll be missings in the newspaper and on the radio and that type of thing. So hopefully, we were reaching out to the public and vice versa.
And will there be a time restriction as well, that if they don't complete the project?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the key things that Pat is working on is someone wanted, as he said, we prefer to infill with a new build as opposed to just giving it to an adjacent landowner. If those people need any funding or financing, if they don't have a clear title on the house, it's going to be tough for them to get the loan that they would need to build that new house. So he's got quite a hill to climb to try and clean those up.
Absolutely, yeah, and no further comment, but yes.
Yeah, I think one good thing about the land bank is not only infill or building houses, is a lot of these have cost the city tens of thousands of dollars each year in mowing assessments. And so just getting them back, I mean, that right there, you know, sometimes mowing a year could be $1,000 on it. Well, that could be a whole year of property taxes for the city. So just getting it into someone that maintains it's going to save the city a lot of money. So, yeah. Pat's doing your job so far.
Well, Pat, we wish you the best of luck in your new endeavor.
You betcha, Mayor. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Shane Lamb and Susan Gallimore.
I will ask on these next three,
Yes.
and maybe Rob, you can help me on this. Do any of these next three conflict with each other at all on what the ask is for any of them?
No.
Okay.
No, Mr. Lamb is asking for housing investment tax credit, correct? Am I correct? And Ms. Gailmore from the RPC is going to speak on behalf of the about that. And then the next gentleman, I believe Justin, is on your sheet. He's going to talk about ARPA MIH, and then Mr. Wood is going to talk about the regular MIH program. So all three are different programs. And I will speak after all of them are done on Reddy's recommendations.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Susan Gilmore. I'm with the Regional Planning Commission, and I'm actually here just
Susan,
to answer.
I want to stop you right there before we get comments. If you don't mind to speak into the mic, otherwise,
sorry.
otherwise they'll be
Alright.
telling us
I
they
didn't want
can't
to be
hear you.
obvious and just like get right in front of you.
Yeah, go ahead and eat the
I'm
mic.
sorry.
Speak right into
sorry.
it, please.
Susan Gilmore with the Regional Planning Commission, and I'm just here in case you guys have questions about the tax credit program itself. Shane Lamb is the developer on this particular project, and he's here to talk about the actual project. So whichever one you have questions for first, we're happy to help. Want to hear from Shane first?
Let's hear his proposal. Yes, ma'am.
So I acquired the old Fort Scott Manor property. Our goal is to do a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments in it and convert it into 19 fair market value apartments. So 19 units in that one.
You've came and spoke before, is that correct?
Yeah, we have a pending what is it, an assessment waiver on it.
Yeah.
What has gone forward with that?
So we're not allowed to do anything until we go through a program. So part of the program, I can't start on it until I find out if I can do the program or not. So I'm as eager to get started on this as anybody.
So do you have no renderings or anything of what you propose that
So
the building?
we're working with architects right now, but almost every architect in the region is a couple months out still.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. I'm sorry. So how are you working forward with this program? You're just waiting for more funds to come in?
So the program requires commitment from the city or an approval from the city. Is that my?
The tax credit program, the only thing it requires from the city is a passage of a resolution stating that you're supportive of the project. It's different from a grant application. It's just supporting the project as a whole for him to be able to apply for the tax credit program.
And the project right now is just, you're going to build 19 fair market?
Yeah, 19 units, mix of two bedrooms and 1 bedroom.
So how long does that last? I mean, if it takes, let's say hypothetically, it takes him a year, great. If it takes him 10 years, does this go on for, I think what Commissioner Harrington was getting at was, you were in here before. I think we had asked you to come back again with kind of additional information on actually what you were going to do, what do you think your timeline was going to be if it was approved and those type of things. And I don't recall that we've heard that information back.
Yeah, so it was 18 months is what we talked about last time. From start to finish, 18 months from when I get the green light to when it's actually finished.
When do you think you will start? That is a
all
good
based on
this
the
resolution
program
and
has to
everything.
give a green light.
Okay. Did they give you a time frame of when, Susan? Do they have a time frame when we
so
could start to finish?
The applications are due this month on the 17th with an anticipated award date in late March. They do have currently, because this is a newer program for them, it's a little bit boggy at the moment. So he can't start construction until they do their process of qualifying the project as a qualified housing project. And there's a checklist of items they have to do. One of those includes a site visit. So they are anticipating at the moment that could potentially add a couple months to before they can give the full green light to it. They're hoping as they get better with the program that'll go quicker, but at the moment that's where they're at.
Okay. But you currently own the building.
Yes, I bought the building, yeah.
But you can't start until they tell you can start construction?
Unless I don't do the program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're just needing our approval to okay this to go forward. Okay.
Rob, did you have any recommendations, or were you going to wait until?
I was actually going to wait till the end of all three, but since it's a separate program, I just want to point out that all you would be doing this evening is passing a resolution that allows Mr. Lamb to move forward with his project with the state and request tax credits, which do not come out of that. They're specifically from the state. There's state income tax credits that he will receive from the state of Kansas. You will not be out any money. You are just approving this. That basically what you would say today is that you agree with his project, you want to see it move forward, and that you are okay with the state approving his income, his tax credits. So there's really nothing out from you other than basically saying that you want to see him do this project ahead of time. So, and like he said, and Susan said, he cannot move forward until you as a commission give him permission to move forward. And then as he moves forward, then the state, it'll be completely up to the state whether his project is awarded or not. So the state could come back and say it's not, but we can't find out until you allow him to move forward.
Thanks, Rob.
One last question, Mr. Lamb. Are you doing this in all the communities with these buildings, or just ours with this?
This is the
housing?
first time we're doing this program.
Okay.
So our goal is to do it in several other communities, where just the normal budget doesn't make sense. But we do a mix of all cash, and then we're starting different programs like this to just kind of make things go faster.
Okay.
Is there any restrictions on this? I mean, is this for low income, moderate income, or
No, we would have fair market.
fair market? Yeah. I don't have any other questions.
I don't either. Edwin, do you have any questions?
He's gonna have to answer by text.
Maybe. And I know you worked with the city before. And I think did the fire department look at that building too, or do you have to get approval from the state fire marshal as
We
well?
have to get approval from state fire marshal, yes. So there are certain things that we can do once we do the application. Planning or the renderings is one thing we can kind of do simultaneously through the application process. We just can't start the physical work until we're greenlit.
And Rob, can you speak on this, or Ben, or I haven't asked yet. Sorry. Oh, okay. If let's say we approve this and for some reason he doesn't follow through, I mean, there's no.
The tax credits are upon completion. Okay. So basically, he has to complete the project in the eyes of the state. So that's basically where. I mean, Susan, is that where did she go? She disappeared behind the pole. When you're wide like me, you can't hide behind that pole. Is that correct? I mean, it's based on nope. Okay.
Yeah, these are different. Sorry, these are issued through Senate Bill 2237, and they put slightly different parameters on these. So there are certain pieces that allow him to be eligible to receive the tax credits, and that it's at cash equity So he's acquired the property. So technically, he has spent money in the project. So he would qualify for whatever he spent. Let's say he spent $100,000 acquiring it. He would then be eligible to receive $100,000 in tax credits. And then as construction is completed, then as more monies are expended and put into the project, then he's eligible to receive additional tax credits based on the cash investment in the project. It's all based on the cash investment. So the cash has to be invested in the project to be eligible to get the tax credit back.
So what guarantees we have, like, since you said that, the money he spent already, let's say he gets tax credits for that and then just says, got my money back, I'm rolling out, not doing nothing to the building.
Yeah, so there is a payback provision with the tax credits, and so he does have to maintain compliance. So if he doesn't reach completion, there is a potential that they would come back and say you're out of compliance. So just because they've issued some tax credits doesn't mean that they're not going to follow along in the project through the whole process to make sure it actually gets occupied by tenants. There's a whole parameter he has to meet, or he would potentially have recourse on him. Yes.
Are there any limitations on these tax credits as far as contractors? What I'm asking is, say we have 4 or 5 other contractors who come to town and would like to do a similar project. If he is granted these tax credits, will it in any way affect their ability to apply for the same tax credits?
So
Sorry.
That's okay. Multiple developers cannot make multiple applications. So there's a certain amount of funding available. So first come, first serve,
Yes, ma'am.
basically based on quality projects. So it is a competitive process. I think the last round they put them together, the MIH and the KHITC, I think they had 48 applications, and I'm not even sure half were funded. So it's very competitive. But yes, you could have other developers come in and want to apply for additional tax credits. Yes.
I would entertain a motion if anyone had one.
I move to move forward with the consideration of resolution number 6-2023 for the application for Shane Lamb to apply for tax credits.
Second.
Josh Jones?
Yes.
Tim Van Hookie?
Yes.
Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff? He says yes. Matthew Wells?
Yes.
Thank you, Shane.
Lisa, make sure to put
Good
on
luck.
our phone vote in case these get recalled.
Next on the list is Justin.
Can't say his last name.
No, I'm not going to attempt to
Thank you, Mayor.
butcher his last name. I'm sorry.
Thank you,
Justin,
Mayor,
what-
Commission. Nice to be back.
What's your last name?
Perjean.
Okay.
Yeah, P-R-E.
Yeah, I know what it is. I just
Yeah.
can't say it.
Yeah. Just don't say pregnant. We'll stay friends. I think I made that joke last time. I say it a lot. So to give you a little bit of a quick update, this is my second visit to the commission. I've got the buildings at 19 South Main and 23 South Main in downtown Fort Scott under contract. Pursuing a project that I'm calling the Van Fossen Apartments. It's a 16-unit adaptive reuse and historic preservation project. Be a renovation of somewhere around 16,000 square feet of the second and third floors of the Van Fossen building, which is 23 South Main, as well as a comprehensive renovation of the second floor of 19 South Main Street. It's an extraordinary project, which requires extraordinary partnership. So when I say that, I mean, fire-rated elevator shaft, new fire-rated elevator shaft and elevator, new fire-rated staircase to all levels of the building, sprinklering throughout, actively monitored fire alarm. It's a really extraordinary expense to undertake. I think I told you last time it's not just a pigeon graveyard. There's a full ecosystem of various wildlife and various stages of decomposition on those floors. So it's about as full of a rehabilitation project as you could undertake. This is what I do. So I've done 2 of these type projects in Atchison, and I have one that's about halfway through in Hayes. I try to layer various, and Kansas has been pretty progressive when it comes to their moderate income housing program. This project doesn't make any sense without state historic tax credits, federal historic tax credits, rural housing incentive district, industrial revenue bond issue, and a pretty sizable grant from the moderate income housing ARPA category. The ARPA category is new. There are only, from my understanding, going to be 2 rounds of it this year, so it's a unique opportunity that's in front of us. Awards in the ARPA category can be between $650,000 and $3.5 million. My ask of you is to seek permission to apply for $1.375 million out of that authorization. Lastly, I do want to answer to sort of what the city of Fort Scott's responsibility is. These checks that would come down through the Kansas Housing Resource Corporation necessarily have to flow through a local government sponsor. So that's why I'm here. That's the city of Fort Scott. In terms of ongoing administration, I can provide examples to your city attorney of how I've set up that relationship in my previous projects. Basically, I'll give you personal guarantees from myself and my partners for the full amount of that grant. And then I take care of the compliance. There's monthly progress reports required. I take care of that. My intent is that I'm the sponsor. This is my deal. I'm responsible for carrying it through completion. I'm responsible for doing the compliance. However, those funds have to flow through the city of Fort Scott. So there's time for that. After the award, we go back and forth, my attorney, your representation, to make sure that that arrangement is to your satisfaction. If we can't come to an agreement on what that looks like, then I don't have a project. So our incentive is aligned for me to figure out how to make that happen. So with that, I can answer any questions that you might have, but I would appreciate your support on the 2 resolutions that I've got in front of you.
Bob, did you look both these resolutions over before tonight? Okay.
Bob, my question to you would be, if heaven forbid there was an issue where he was unable to complete the project, legally, is there any recourse against the city? Does that put us in a bad position?
No, he'd have to deal with the state and our.
Okay.
And again, the only thing is the importance of saying it through, getting it done, because I don't think we're eligible if somebody else came in here and wanted to apply for these fundings. If you weren't compliant in the reporting at every step of the way, as you'd mentioned, or that the state was completely satisfied that you'd completed everything you were supposed to complete.
100%.
Okay. Rob, did you have anything you would add, or anything that's we didn't ask?
No, the only thing I would point out is, like Bob said, the city is not going to be out anything. Even on the IRB, he's not asking for a dollar amount on the bond. He's just asking for you to basically pass a $0 IRB so he can have sales tax exemption on the purchases he makes. No money the city is going to be required to pay back. And like Bob said, if he tries to tuck tail and run, the federal government and the state government will go after him, and we won't have to. So,
have you figured out where your tenants are going to park at down there? I'm just kidding, because that's been an issue. No, I would move to approve the consideration of resolution number 4-2023.
Are we doing both together or separate?
I was going to do them separately.
Perfect. I second.
Josh Jones?
Yes.
Tim Van Hookie?
Yes.
Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff? Yes. Matthew Wells?
Yes.
I would also move to approve the consideration of resolution number 5-2023.
Second that.
Okay. Tim Van Hookie?
Yes.
Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff? Yes. Josh Jones?
Yes.
Matthew Wells?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You've got a really lovely community here. Excited to be a part of it if we can get our award. So
when
we get the award.
Don't
I will say real quick
when.
that it's super competitive, and if this happens to be unsuccessful this time around, you can't win every time. I would intend to give it another go in the next round in the ARPA category. So this is a commitment on our part. I'm pretty deep into it at this point with architects and that kind of thing. So we'll give it at least a couple of tries if that's what it takes. So thank
We
you again.
appreciate your
Thank you.
investment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Next, we'll invite Patrick Wood to speak to us.
I got some handouts. So this is exciting, isn't it? 35 potential houses or units in town. If this all goes through, it would be quite the undertaking for Fort Scott.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you the highlights of this proposal. If you open it up to that third page and see, I want to refresh everybody's memory of what that property. Okay, let me start over. We're at 1907 Huntington, Horton and Huntington by the Community Christian Church. Okay. So when we purchased the property in 2018, that's what it looked like. Those trailer houses. We got it cleared up and had some setbacks, and now we're back ready to go. So my proposal is to do a pocket neighborhood. And what that is it'd be 10 houses on 4 lots. And a pocket neighborhood has one central area in between all of the houses. One central green area. All of the houses face that green area. So it promotes a sense of community, gives a sense of security because everybody knows each other in that area. But it is separate units. So if we can go to this page right here, this is how it was originally zoned and divided up in the original tract. So there's 20 single family lots in there. The next page is what I am proposing over on the left-hand side of the page. You'll see the pocket community in that area. And if you go to the next page, it's kind of blown up. Not getting much feed. Everybody following me?
Are we on the pictures yet?
Yeah.
Is that what it's supposed to look like?
Yes. Yep, that's what I'm proposing.
It's very sterile.
Yeah. It is.
I'm just being honest. I'm sorry.
Yep.
What's the square footage like for 1 bedroom, a 2 bedroom, and a 3 bedroom?
Right now at 850 for a 2 bedroom, and a 3 bedroom's right at 1200.
Are these handicap accessible?
Yes,
Okay.
They have to be with MIH.
The 10 units will be
Yeah.
breaking down. What are the bedrooms on each of them?
There'd be 4 1 bedrooms, 3 2 bedrooms, and 3 3 bedrooms.
And are these stick built on site, or
Yes.
are they?
As of right now, that's the way I've put the budget together. Stick built on site. I am entertaining other options right now.
Like something modular?
Not modular.
Prefab.
6 panels, probably.
So these first 10 units, will they be along the Huntington side of the road? And then the rest of the lot will still remain vacant for the time being?
Yep. And I'm working with a couple of investors right now to develop the rest of the ground also.
Okay.
SIPs.
Six.
It's an insulated, the insulated panels where it's got OSB on both sides and insulation in between.
Getting those out of Arma?
Possible. It's an option.
No. Now, what about the area here listed as track 1? If I remember correctly, the city made that a commercially zoned area?
It is both commercial residential right now.
Okay.
And then high density residential on the track 2.
Okay. So the zoning is what you would need it to be for this project?
As of right now,
okay.
You project these to be opened up here within a year to 15 months?
Well, it's 18 months from the time, but that's the schedule that I've been doing.
And you've been working with Rob and on this?
Yep.
Rob, what would you say?
Since it's a commission meeting, I can't say what I really would say, but I'll just say yes. But I would put something in front of it if I could. But no, Ready is very excited about both projects, and we would. You've already approved the other one, so we would recommend that you approve Mr. Wood's development. I believe we're gonna. I don't think. Do you already have a resolution with them, or what? So what I would ask is I would request that it is due on the 17th. So what I would request is that the
February?
Yes, ma'am. Next week. So just like the other gentleman. So what I would request is that you come back next week in a special meeting and approve the resolution. It would be similar to Mr. I'm not going to try his last name, Justin's resolution as well. So it gives you time to look at this, but it's a great project. We need the housing severely bad in our community, and like Reddy has worked with both of these individuals on these projects, and they're both needed. And I would ask that you move forward and give Mr. Woods your go ahead. So.
Yeah, it is pretty nice. Not only apartments but houses, Rob. Like I said, it is. I mean, it is nice to have not only apartments but houses being.
Yeah, no, we definitely need them. I mean, if you've looked at the housing assessment that Reddy paid for, we need apartments. We need 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. We need all different level incomes. So every one of these projects, as you've seen today, is needed in this community badly. And we've got letters of support from different companies for both these projects, from the school district, from Reddy itself. So everyone is excited about these projects, and obviously there's different tastes for different people. Some people are going to want to live downtown in an apartment setting with no yard to mow and everything, but someone like myself who has a large family, we're going to want to live in one of the 3 bedrooms, right? So we've got to be available for everyone, and it's great. There's just a lot of great things that are happening tonight in this meeting, and I just great things are happening in this county and this community, and this is one of them for sure. So.
You said a 3-bedroom was like 1,100 square feet, 1,200, and I've seen the size of Rob's kids, and I'm convinced that Katie's going to be all on board with. Okay,
now
these are all maintenance taken care of too. It's no maintenance on it.
So that they are just rentals. They won't be units for sale. They'll just be rentals. Okay.
Which is needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would mow the grass.
So the park.
Not me.
But you're
Pat, parking on these in each units. Are they made for 2 small cars, or I'm trying to read these. I'm sorry.
Right now, the parking is 1 stall per unit, and then
okay.
we've got 11 or 12 parking stalls on the south side.
Bob, if we move forward, will you be able to assist him in drawing up the resolution?
Yeah, well, I assume that
I don't have that one, but
He doesn't have one yet.
Rob, do you have a resolution I can use?
Yes, yeah. I would assume we just use the same one Justin used and change the name. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay, Bob? Oh, we don't want to recreate the wheel.
We've got the wheel, we passed it, it says the same thing, so that's important.
All right.
We may need you back for a special session or anything like that for any questions. Sorry.
Are we going to motion to move forward on this evening, or do we want to
I think what we were
direct
doing
and
was
wait till the
We have to
special
wait
session?
for the resolution.
directing Bob to go ahead and write the resolution, and then we would need to have a special vote on the actual resolution number to move forward.
Yes.
Is where we're at. But I don't have any more questions. I think it looks great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I need a motion to open a public hearing.
I'll move to open the public hearing to discuss the petitioner for 2010 East 3rd Street in Fort Scott.
Second.
Katie Harrington,
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff, Edwin to open the public hearing. Yes. Yes. Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hooky.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes. Is Robert here this evening to speak to us concerning this?
No.
No. All right, there has been a petition to vacate the roadway easement on Bartow Street between 3rd and 4th Street. Property described as approximately 300 by 60 of Bartow Street lying between lots 1 through 13, block 16, lot 2 through 14, block 17 of the McMillions addition to the city of Fort Scott, Kansas. Is there anyone else this evening in the audience that has something they would like to say?
Up in your area, Doug.
No?
Has he been working with Thomas on this, or Norm, or?
Thomas, would you care to address us about this?
I don't know that there's a whole lot to say on it. I've been working with him on this project. Currently, by the maps and so forth that we have, part of his garage is already in this easement. Bartow is a total of 2 blocks long. Or I'm sorry, I think it's 1 block long. And this easement would be, if it were to be extended. However, the properties on each side are owned by one person for the entire block. And they're both in agreement that they feel that it would be a usable space. The gentleman that's applying for the approval on this intends to build on that area for an additional workshop / RV garage space for it, because without it, it would be tough to be able to place it anywhere else accessible on his lot.
And Thomas, I had gone through the many pieces of supporting documentation that were in there, showing that the items were published in the newspaper for a year. I saw a letter from the city clerk validating that. The county records, the whole 9 yards. I saw the map of it. I drove down there. I looked at it. Do you see any issues whatsoever?
I really don't. If the city were to ever intend to build a roadway there, which under the current ownership structure on those lots, I don't see why they would. Many of those properties up there in that area are rather large area, so it would cover an entire block or half.
Yeah.
So I don't see that the city would have any issues with the
Brad, do
abandoning
you
that
have
space.
anything? Chief, you guys are all over town. Any concerns?
I'm not sure what it's at. I know where Barstow Street is.
It would be on the south.
Short timer.
Yeah. Where Bartow runs north to south, it would be on that south end where it dead ends into what looks like trees.
I bet Chief Brunel knows.
Chief Bruder.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if no one else has any comments, I'd move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hooky.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff. And Matthew Wells.
Yes.
And then we need to move to approve vacating it.
If that is what the commission so wishes.
I would move to approve the request by the petitioner at 2010 East 3rd Street to vacate the roadway easement on Bartow Street between 3rd and 4th Streets. Property described as approximately 300 feet by 60 feet at Bartow Street line between lots.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff. Yes. Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
No. All right, we'll move on to the new business for this evening. Item A is consideration to publish for request for proposal, the ground lease. Scott here to address us on that?
No, I've got it.
Go ahead.
Take care of it. It's our yearly lease program for the land down by the wastewater treatment plant. It's the same one we've done in the past years. Just want to send it out for proposal. So we'll accept the highest bidder.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one where we want to accept the highest.
The highest bidder, yes. Do we have a motion to move forward on this?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Edwin Wolhoff. Yes. Josh Jones.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes. Item B, consideration to go out for bids for the 2023 mowing season.
So this is our yearly mowing for properties on either the land bank or codes violation sheets. I want to ask a question before we accept it, though, or before you accept it or not accept it. It has been approached to me about possibly doing this in 3-year increments. And the reason being is then somebody can make the investment to buy mowers or weed eaters or whatever. Year to year to year is a little bit tougher when you try to purchase equipment. So I'm up for suggestions of what your thoughts are. We can change this either way. We can change it to a 3-year contract, or we can keep it to 1 year.
I would like to see it move to a 3-year contract as well, because I see it as a benefit to the city. If we get one bid now, regardless of if the price of gas goes through the roof or not, that bid will last for 3 years. That's how I see it being a benefit to us.
I would make the suggestion of doing what we've done before and asking for 2 bids, a 1-year bid and a 3-year bid, and then we at least have options. If we decide to go with a 3-year bid, we can. If we decide to go with a 1-year bid, we can. That's, I know in the trash business, that's how we usually bid it out, and then it gives the commission their decision to decide whether to take the 1 year or the 3-year bid.
Okay. I would be amicable to that.
The only other question I have, will the land bank be able to piggyback off this? I know in the past they have. So I don't know if we can change it where, I don't know.
You and Craig were going to mow on the land bank once. No?
No.
For free.
For free.
For free.
But I think it would be a good idea to piggyback off of the land bank one, because I'm sure that the more lawns that are involved, hopefully,
Mhm.
you know, you get the
Better.
volume discount.
So I would make the motion to go out for bid for the 2023 mowing season, and in that bid, the proposals come back for a 1-year proposal and a 3-year proposal.
Second.
Now, if we're going to piggyback just real quick, the land bank on there, I know with the city, usually the city notifies the people doing the mowing that you need to go out and they've got 5 days to get it done and do the before and after picture and all that. Is the land bank going to do the same thing? Are they going to make the notification or?
Yeah, I don't know. It was brought up at the last meeting, but nothing was decided. So they just said last year it was handled through the city. Of course, they were probably code violations, or just in the land bank's name, maybe, but
could be.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go out for bids for 1 and 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I would just have you get with Pat Bishop on the land bank.
Okay.
Is this lawn mowing agreement what we currently use? Or
This is what to change.
just
some
an example.
verbiage.
Okay.
This is, yes.
I noticed that the codes officer it has listed hasn't been with us for quite a few years.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay.
Are the is the date okay that the bid is due back, or do we need longer to get a 1 and a 3 year?
March 17th, I would say, in my opinion, that's long enough.
Yeah.
Plus, if we get rain,
Yeah, it might
it's
be
going to
time
be
to mow.
starting to mow up again. So.
So we had a motion and a second.
Correct. Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff. Yes. Matthew Wells.
Yes. Item C, consideration to apply for the grant project for automatic external defibrillators to be placed at all of our locations.
How many AEDs would this be?
Right now, I'm looking at probably 12. So if you look at the, I don't have
I
the sheet
asked
there.
as Buck Run. How
So-
many are we going to put
So
in Buck Run?
we're looking at possibly 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
Um,
I just know the different gyms.
yeah,
and
well, different
locations.
gyms, and then having an extra one for Fisher
Upstairs.
Park as well.
Oh, yeah.
To put in the concession area, one that can maybe move back and forth, seasonal for the pool.
Okay.
So right now we're looking at 12. It could be a little less, a little more.
They use it upstairs. Would
Right.
that be a consideration to move one up there?
Um,
Since that is an
if-
exercise.
If you have one in that gym area down below, you'll be okay.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's
What's the
But
life?
we can look at that and see.
What's the life expectancy on these?
Actually, we have there's 2 at the fire department. One's on our rescue truck and one's on our engine. Those are 20-year AEDs that are in need of replacement.
You're just
A lot
really
of
talking
those-
about like Zoll AEDs here, right?
Right.
The ones in the cabinets that go
Yeah,
in there.
yeah. We use Physio Control, but the brand and manufacturer is not really concerning.
Really, the only maintenance on those is a regular check of the indicator on the battery, and then the
Replacement
pads.
patches.
Usually only good for like 2 years.
Yep. So the pads will expire. It does a daily check. Usually we can get about 2 years out of a battery, but we have a lot of these. I want to say it was almost 18 to 20 years ago. Mercy Foundation had these AEDs and they put in these areas, and a lot of these LifePack 500s are obsolete. So we need to not only replace those, but also add to our system. So.
And you're looking at Physio Control for the ones you're looking at. Going to?
We've looked at I'm looking at DefibTech, Physio Control. Whatever. There's a lot of community packages they have.
What
for
about the
communities and schools.
administration of the program? Usually with AEDs, there's, you know what I'm talking about.
As far as training?
Well, not just training, but there's usually a program on the back end of it as well.
Sure. Yeah.
That is, a lot of companies now do nothing but hire physicians that I forget the term that they use. That
Right.
It's almost like prescribing the AED and all this other
Sure.
stuff, and then you've got to do the training for it.
Mhm.
The Red Cross program.
And we have instructors in our department as well as a couple of Bourbon County EMS that can do the training.
Okay.
Have you looked at the Red Cross to see if there's any programs out there for them to have placement of AEDs in our community
I can look and see. Yeah, I can research that
option.
But you're going out.
Yep.
This is for a grant already that you're looking at. correct?
Actually, this one here is just for permission to seek out opportunities. Just to come to you and tell you I'm seeking out opportunities. If there is a matching opportunity, I'll come back with that.
Okay.
But there is a one grant that I'm considering right now that's not matching, so maybe we can utilize that grant.
Are we using the AED pads for children and adults?
They can be.
Okay.
Yep.
You just need the consideration approval.
Probably, yeah. Approval to give me permission to seek out those.
I moved to the consideration to apply for a grant or consideration for an AED for facilities at City Hall, Buck Run, Fire Department, Airport, Golf Course, Public Works, and Memorial Hall.
Second.
Tim Van Hookey?
Yes.
Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Edwin Woolhoff? Yes. Josh Jones?
Yes.
Matthew Wells?
Yes.
All that for that?
Yeah, there's one more.
Got anything else for us, Dave?
Yeah.
Item D. This is a joke, you guys.
We're moving it along.
So the next item on your list is to apply for assistance to firefighter grants for a diesel exhaust removal system for Station 1 and Station 2 at the fire departments. We currently have systems, but they're outdated and they need replaced. There's one system that we can't get parts anymore. That company's not in business, so
this
we need
is
to
exhaust system for fumes.
basically.
and stuff
Yep. So
for in the building.
yes.
Okay.
So when our trucks start, these will be hooked into our muffler pipes and then tailpipes, and then it'll follow us out the door. So this is an assistance to firefighters grant. We're looking at approximately $150,000, and we qualify for the 95.5 matching grant. So it'll be roughly it'll be $7,500. Will be our cost. The challenging thing, and I'll just tell you, this grant has changed in the past couple of years. We found out, and it's a little there's a lot of hoops to jump through this time. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to make the deadline, but if not, we'll find another one, or we'll go next year for it. So
When is it due?
Friday. So we've started the grant. We've got that process done, but there's hoops that we've been waiting on, and we just haven't got approval on those yet. So
I'll make the motion to allow you to go out for that grant opportunity for the exhaust removal system.
I'll second.
Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Edwin Woolhoff? Yes. Josh Jones?
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey?
Yes.
Matthew Wells?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
One thing I don't know if we can look at in the future is anytime we go out for this, then it's under the budget impact of the city managers. I don't know if they need to bring it to us.
Both these they both will be over the $5,000.
Well, I think the city manager could spend up to 10,000.
10?
Yeah, and then the first one's actually a zero. It's a zero match.
I think they just have to have the approval of the commission to go out for the grant.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I don't know if in the future, I don't know if that's.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys think it's necessary, but I think if it's under the budget impact of the city manager, then like just to meet time crunches and stuff like that when we meet. I mean, because they go out and buy something, they can go out and spend under 10,000. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I mean, just something to consider in the future.
Bob, do you have any input on that?
I think your suggestion is good. I don't think it's a problem.
Or if we were going to keep them, move them to the front of the agenda.
Yeah.
It makes sense for him to go ahead and make the application. You're not obligated for anything
Right.
until it's approved, and then he can come talk to you about whatever the center is authority.
So do we need to do anything as the commission if we wanted to make that change to give him the authority to do that? All right.
You just haven't done it.
Right.
There you go, Brad. Note to self.
Got it. Bring them on.
Sorry for the wait, Dave.
Yeah. Speaking of Brad, would you like to talk to us about the Cape Seal project for 2023?
In your packets is a RFP for the 2023 Cape Seal program. Just want the approval to send this out for bids. Last year, I did notice that the what we paid was just roughly around 230,000.
My only questions, and East National, South National to the cemetery. Just asking. Now, part of that is brick, right?
We'll have to go on Main. I think I drove it yesterday, and it was just east of Main Street is when the asphalt starts. So
this would be basically Main.
If you want to go there, that's fine, or that's all up to you. Whatever you guys want to approve. If you don't want to go over bricks, then we'll have to go right there at that area.
That's what I believe the
Okay.
direction would be from Main to the cemetery.
Okay.
And then Margrave, wall to 6/3rd Street intersection. What? Wall to 6/3rd Street intersection. What does that?
The 3rd Street intersection right there is also an area that is brick and would remain brick. So it would be the wall to
6th Street
to right before 3rd Street,
right,
and then right after 3rd Street to 6th Street.
Okay. And then Charles Street, we're going Broadway to Steen. And I just any reason why we didn't go 3 or 4 more blocks to the city limits?
We could easily.
I didn't know if
that won't add that much footage or yardage to it.
I mean, I would suggest going to the city limits, which should be.
We've had other questions about that with some other areas, so I'd agree. I'd go to the city limits.
Same thing with Sunset, Horton to Crawford. Why not go to National? I mean, that's just 2 blocks. I don't know if that road, I didn't get a chance to drive it by.
Sunset Drive only runs over
to
Crawford, and then it
turns
becomes
in
18th Street.
Is 18th from Crawford to
down to National?
Is it
yes.
decent?
No, but it will be on another. It'll be on a list here in another year.
I would just think if we're doing
Not
it
too
the
terribly
2 more.
bad.
I just think if we're right there, I don't know why we're stopping with 2 blocks left.
Okay.
Would just be my suggestion. I mean, just to me, because National's been done and Crawford, and we just leave 2 blocks not done. I'm just afraid it would be.
No, I'm fine with that if everyone else is. Because we talked about doing that same thing on 23rd Street, running Horton all the way out to the edge of the city limits. And instead of just going to the city limits, going all the way out to Liberty Bell Road. So there's a section of there that's technically the county road, but we'll go ahead and code it at this time.
One that I did add that was not on the list was Van Fossen from Wall to Pine. I drove over there last week to look at some concerns, and that road is it's in bad shape. So we need to do something with that. The pothole patch will help, but I think if we Cape Seal it, that'll really make it better.
We got our paint in for the striping machine yet?
No, sir. No, not yet. No. It's
We'll put it to use when it gets here for sure.
Oh yeah, we got a list. So yeah,
It's supposed to be magic paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any additions or changes they would like to make?
Cape Seal.
Hmm?
To the Cape Seal.
Yeah. Brad, could you have this amended and ready for the special meeting next week for us to vote on to approve?
Sure. I'll send it to you email, and then we can look it over. If you have any other questions, let me know.
Thank you, sir.
Did you get the 3 or 4 changes?
Mm-hmm.
And item F, brick crew justification.
I know we talked about this in the past. I didn't have any paperwork for this because there's not much paperwork to go with it. I know we talked about hiring a utility street repair what did we talk about this?
I like it.
Utilities, instead of a brick crew, utility street repair crew. That's a tough one. Right. So it would be a 3-person crew. I talked to Ben, $120,000 for a year. That's with benefits and everything. That's why Ben's still here. I wanted him to answer any type of questions. It would be taken out of 3 different accounts, 3 different GLs, because you're talking streets, wastewater, and water distribution. Now, you got to understand, this crew would be doing other things when the weather's not right for concreting under bricks or doing bricks. So they would be doing other things, but their main focus would be repairing our street cuts, in which some of them are on asphalt. So if you have any questions.
Actually, most of them are. I mean, I think you got a copy of this, and Matthew, you got, and yeah, there are some brick streets on here, but I think out of like the 200 plus cuts that are on these 8 or 9 pages, like 18 of them are brick. If we're going to bring somebody on full time, I agree that, you know, all of these things that, and I think in most all these cases, these are just ours, right?
Yeah.
Done by the city, not done by the contractor.
But those are only ours over the last 2 years. That doesn't include the ones that we've done for the last 21 years that are also all on the brick streets. So there is more than enough.
And there's going to be potholes.
Let's find the list, but like I said, I don't want to just. I mean, just because I don't live on a brick street doesn't mean the mess in front of my house shouldn't be fixed. So I kind of like the idea of a utility street or a street utility repair crew. And if it's brick, by all means, fix it. If it's not brick, you know, fix it. But I think that attacking this list plus the other ones that are out there are important. And if they're doing both styles of repairs, it's going to be a more well-rounded crew at the end of the day.
Now, one thing I'm going to tackle with that, other than just the utility repairs, if we have a repair in the street, but we have about 4 other potholes in the street, we're going to tackle all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just going to do the utility cuts. We're going to do all the potholes because you've got to be efficient in this. So if just like we're doing right now on Judson Street, we didn't just go after one pothole. We went after the whole block. And hopefully tomorrow you'll see some improvements on that street. I think the bus drivers will like that because I do believe bus drivers go down that street.
So finance, we've got the funding to go that way and fund that 3-person crew.
Absolutely. You've got 1.2 million sitting in the street highway fund, 1.7 in, I believe, water, and there's 5.6 in the storm or wastewater. So there's more than enough to make this happen.
And Brad, I think you had mentioned when we were discussing this that you may already have actually people that are interested in being a part of this crew.
I actually have a really good lead person already thought of.
Okay.
He's got experience leading people.
Well, if that's the case, if no one's got any other questions, I would move to approve bringing on board the street utility repair crew to take care of all types of streets in the city of Fort Scott based on Baker Tilly's recommendation of the funding, Brad's need as city manager saying that this is something that we need.
Second.
Josh Jones?
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey?
Yes.
Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Edwin Woolhoff? Yes. Matthew Wells?
Save the brick streets, yes.
Oh boy, I was trying to remember what my dad used to say about why do you let the guy have the last word?
I will. Hey, one more thing on the Cape Seal. Sorry.
Yes.
One thing, if the commission is fine, someone reach out that lives on Tomahawk off East National. It's a block and a half right there.
Off where?
Oh, off of
East National.
East National.
Oh, yeah, shooting back up.
And if there's money
Yeah,
in there.
they're
to
gonna be
add.
right there,
Well, there are two of them. Is there one inlet?
Just one. Yeah.
right after the train tracks. Yeah.
So I know we talked about it last time when we talked about doing East National, about doing it, and so Tomahawk Lane. Yeah. Yeah.
Mayor Wells. I'm gonna do an introduction real quick. We've had some individuals from Pitt State. They are with us tonight and didn't really know our process very well, but if you want to just come up to the mic and introduce yourself, they've been here through our meeting almost all night, and I'll bring them up and kind of ask what they have been doing tonight. Sorry.
You're fine.
Poor girls have been waiting.
Sorry, thank you. I'm Maddie Morris, and we're Pitt State nursing students. And then this is...
I'm Sarah Kaufman. Mackenzie Hughes. My name's Leah. Sorry, that's
but we are just here. We have to do a community health assessment, and so we had to find a local town to go to the board meeting and then just kind of survey the town. So today we did a windshield survey by walking along the streets and just kind of feeling out the town. And then we also have a little survey just to get some population information. So if anyone would be willing to fill that out, that would be great. It takes about 2 minutes to fill out. And some of the questions are optional, but just to kind of help with our research in this and get some personal information rather than just looking it up online. So thank you.
How will people be able to find the survey to be able to fill it out?
We have some flyers and you just scan it with your phone. So I've left some here and we have a couple left that will be here after the meeting if people want to come up, or we can leave some more here.
It's just a QR code
Okay.
that can be taken online for this.
I just didn't know if it'd be posted anywhere else that people could stop by and shoot it with their phone or anything.
Yeah, I know we left some here. I know that they took some and we're putting it in Lisa's office.
Okay.
And then we can leave the rest here if you guys want to put them around or whatever works best for you guys.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for
Yes.
coming.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Sorry to get you off track there, Matt,
No.
but they've been waiting all night.
We have only one more item on new business. That's item G. Consideration of removing the interim from the city manager.
Before we take any motions or movements on this, I would move that the city commission recess into executive session for the purpose of the personnel matters of non-elected personnel exception in KSA 754319B1. In that meeting, I would want the 5 city commissioners, the city attorney, and Mr. Hancock.
How long you need?
Oh, sorry. For 15 minutes, and then we would meet back in this room.
Second.
8:28.
So we'll meet back in this room at 8:28.
Is it?
To Van Hookie.
It'd actually be like 20 minutes would be like 8:32. Okay, yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Edwin Woolhoff.
We can go.
And Matthew Wells.
Yes.
So Ben.
I'll have Matthew. You got Edwin's number, don't you? Yes. Let's have Matthew call Edwin.
Matthew will call you for the executive session. Yeah, he'll give you a call.
Are we back?
Try to stay long enough before you left.
Are we on?
Nope. Now we are.
Now we are. Move to come out of executive session with action.
Second. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Edwin Wolhoff? Yes. Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Tim Van Hookie?
Yes.
Josh Jones?
Yes.
Matthew Wells?
Yes.
The action is move that that we begin contract negotiations with Brad Matkin to move from being our interim city manager to our active full-time city manager, and that he worked those negotiations for his contract with the city attorney, Bob Farmer, to be presented back to the commission members for approval. Within that same motion, I'd maintain that for the time being, based on their current contract and the severance of 15 days notice, that we maintain Baker Tilly to work with Brad at this time until such time deemed not necessary anymore to ensure Brad's success. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry that was so long, Lisa, but there were a few moving parts. Go back and watch the replay.
Josh Jones?
Yeah, and I will just say I agree with keeping Jeff on for now, but I think when you look at an exit plan for Baker Tilly services, if we reach under contract with Brad, so yes, I vote.
That was a long yes there.
Yeah.
Tim Van Hookie?
Yes.
Katie Harrington?
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff? Yes. Matthew Wells?
I'm going to also say that we're going to direct Jeff to go ahead and move forward with working on the facilitation of the
Performance evaluation.
Thank you, Tim. And with that, I'm going to vote yes as well.
Thank you.
Got that, Lisa? Good. There's a lot there, I know.
All right. Now we're going to move to our. Should I strike that word or go ahead and say it one more
Haven't
time?
signed the contract.
Okay.
Hasn't signed a contract.
Interim city manager comments.
So, again, I want to thank you for that. I'll get working with Bob. It's just a few things. We did get a report from, I think you call it Reno Dry.
Reno.
$33,000. Norm Nation went over there and talked to the guy, and they went around and looked at the inside of Memorial Hall. And what they do is a patented system. I would like to have him, if you're interested, two things. One, I'd see if there's something compatible out there to get other bids. And two, I can't remember the guy's name.
Mike Clancy.
What is it?
Michael Clancy.
Michael Clancy come back and talk to us in more depth if you're wanting to do that. I would also, I guess I had three things. I would also look at, if we do the inside, is it really going to make a difference if we don't do the outside first? So that is something we need to look at also, because there's no sense paying this much money if it's not going to prove anything, because the outside's not done. And I know we're looking at that grant. So that's my stand on that.
I'm going to take a look at the process again on it. I mean, I know my 150-year-old house here, if I don't have a dehumidifier downstairs in that basement, everything down there just gets covered in moisture. And is that all that this process is, or what else does it entail? Can we just put, a dozen dehumidifiers down there? What do we need to do? So I'm going to look at the process again, and I'll let you know.
I do believe it's on YouTube. Sorry.
I did think you said it was ongoing as well. So
yes, it's ongoing. Side. they say you have to buy the system. I don't know if there's a yearly fee, but I know once you buy the system, I'm sure you got the system. But I agree. I know down in that one section, they've got the humidifiers, and it's done pretty good. But that's a pretty big building to have.
I wonder also if you reach out to him and just give us some work he's done, so we can just check.
I'll get hold of him this week.
No, I like the sound of the program and everything, but until we address the water intrusions from the exterior of the building and from the roof, I don't know how beneficial it's going to be unless he can give us some kind of guarantee that even with the water coming in, that this will solve all the issues.
True. Okay. School crosswalk lights on National and probably on Margrave. I'm not sure how far you wanted to go. I did get, I finally got 3 bids. They range anywhere from 6,000 to 8,500 a sign, and that includes your top and bottom flashing lights and your speed limit plus your what speed are you going signs. They've got a technical term, but that's the easiest way. I did ask one of the companies if we buy 4, do we get a discount? And that was I'll check on that, and I never heard back. So I think we know what that means. So do you want me to go out and see if there's grants for this? And
yes.
So I'm sure it's not going to be this school year. So
yeah, you might reach out to Destry and just see if they have any grants or something or any monies available that would help towards that as well.
Got that down.
Jason, is there anything you know of from KDOT that would fit into this category?
It needs to be probably a bigger range thing.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Also, this has been ongoing since I started. At one time, 2016, the city of Fort Scott had a curb and sidewalk program to where on this agreement you paid it was up to 50% or up to $2,000 for if somebody fixed a curb or sidewalk. We were told at City Hall that we no longer did this. I need to know if we're not, then I need to get this discontinued totally. I will say it's not in our budget, but I just talked to Ben and he said it can be. We do have funds. Right now I know of 3 people that are wanting to take part of it. I think it's a good thing because we can't build a sidewalk for $2,000 the size that these people are wanting to do, or half of what their price is. So I think it's a great opportunity to get some good sidewalks in Fort Scott. I'm not saying a lot of people will take advantage of it, but we either need to do it or don't do it.
Yeah, I'd just say we might need to discuss that a little bit more because I went through, there's actually a very large section just on sidewalks and how they're built in the ordinances today, because I was looking up a couple of code things and happened to come across. I was like, oh my gosh, how many more sections is there on freaking sidewalks? But I think it sounds like a good idea, but before we would reinstate or promote something like that, we want to make sure that, because who knows what your idea of a sidewalk is and what my idea of a sidewalk is going to be what's going to be good for everybody.
I'll make a copy of this and send it to you so everybody can see it.
I think we could just make as part of the language that they have to abide by the standards and specifications that are in our ordinances.
If we can, before doing that, if we can pull out just the parts that are
and include it in that.
And streamline that,
Okay.
because I might even start reading all those things I saw today if I was going to do it and say, screw it, I'm going to put gravel down.
Yeah, I remember before when I did this, it was a pretty good program. So I didn't know, must just not have been in the funding. And the only thing I'm asking was ask Ben where the money would come from that he says we have available for this.
I have to get more in depth with him.
And it's only up to a certain level per project, correct?
2,000 at most, yes. Demolition budget. Somebody asked me about that. We have $50,000 in the budget, but we also have $22,000 for carryover. Now that does not count what we've already, like what bids are already going on. None of those have been turned in yet for us to pay. They should be getting in within this week and next week, because their days are dwindling down. So right now, just to let you know, $72,000 in the budget for the demos. And I'm sorry, I can't remember which one of you wanted to know.
Speaking of the demos, did we get a bid for? We were going to go out just find out what the ice house would cost to knock it down.
We have not. Thomas is gone. You'll find out next commission meeting. There's somebody interested in that building.
I believe they've already bought the property.
And they're going to come talk to us.
You talking about Scott or
Jesse?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it sounds like a good plan. Of course, it's not an overnight thing because of how big the building is. But I'd rather him come next meeting and visit, and we'll discuss with him because he's kind of shy.
Did he purchase it?
He's in the midst of it. Yes.
I forgot he was coming today. Did he come here earlier?
No, no. He gave us some paperwork.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was on the agenda for today.
But I think he'll do good things with it.
Yeah, I mean, especially that's down his line of work. So.
And structurally, I don't know if anybody else has gone over there and looked at structurally, the brick walls and all of the masonry work is extremely stout, and all of the concrete work is pretty darn thick.
So on the demo budget, do we have any coming up in the future that Thomas has recognized, or anyone's recognized that would be?
They've got a list of homes on their whiteboard in their office that are slated. They went through when we went through this about a year ago. There were a lot of considerations of and they kind of classified A, B, C type houses. A's needed to go right now, and unfortunately, just in the year, some of those homes that were maybe B's before are now A's because nothing's been done with them. But they do have a list of homes up on the board there.
We've got our next list. After we get these done, see how much we've got left, and we'll go to the next list. Number 5, audio visual equipment. Talked to Edwin via email today, and the group that he got a quote from, it was state of the art, but I think it's going to be over our budget. So we still have a quote for $8,000 looming for just the microphones and all the audio.
When was this last purchased?
I don't know. It was before me.
These were never purchased. These were given to us.
USD 234 from long time.
Yes.
I remember.
20
the ones
years
that
ago.
I'm looking at is hardwired. It'll go right. There'll be a box right down there.
Okay. And how much additional was it going to be for the 2-camera system?
You can get the 2 cameras. You can actually get a bigger TV, and it's going to be roughly around $14,000.
And if we don't get the big TV,
$13,000.
Does that come with
just a little bit over? It would be 12.
But what if we didn't have the 2 facing camera?
$8,000.
$8,000.
The only thing that I don't know if it comes with, but it'd be nice to have a speaker, because I know it gets kind of hard to hear out there, and I noticed the county, they have a speaker kind of towards the.
It'll have 2 speakers right here, one facing that way, one facing this way, and if you do the 2 cameras, they'll be facing one here, one there.
I just know from watching the design review board thing that took place the other day, that was very nice to be able to see the people talking and to see the board all in one frame.
Yeah.
And for the people at home, they've reached out that is something that they would really like.
Once again, what'd you say with 2 cameras?
It's a little bit over 12,000.
And 1 camera's only 8?
No
cameras.
cameras,
8. Yeah, just the audio's 8,000.
And what was Edwin's?
I can tell you, I just won't say the name. It was 30. Now it's probably
30.
just from what I looked at, it's probably state of the art. It's probably for bigger rooms than this. I mean, it's for really big rooms.
Did you
For
give
for
them
30, you get the makeup crew and the director.
Well,
we all get our own
Edwin
trailer.
could probably tell you. I think there was a 96-inch TV in there. So yeah.
Abilities, cameras, a 98-inch TV, and the budgetary number was actually for like 48.
48. I asked him if we could get that TV by Sunday, but he said we.
Is there a
He didn't
keypad?
answer.
Is there a keypad in there for Lisa, just to hit a button to turn it on?
I'll have to ask the guy.
Or on her phone.
But
Yeah, I just wonder will that tie in? I mean, what is it? I mean, I guess they'll know.
the guy that he's already been here, and he said you'll eliminate one of the computer screens, one of the computer monitors. And he said it will be ready to go. He said everything else is good. So,
And this would come out of the.
I'd have to look at. I'll have to get with Ben and see where it's gonna. It could come out of. I'd have to look see how much is in IT.
Well, I mean, it's something we need. So,
If we're gonna do it,
yeah.
I would highly suggest that we go ahead and do the 2 cameras at the same time, but not the larger TV.
And that was the $12,000, right?
Yeah. And I don't think you need a TV because
Right.
we use it for training in here, but lately we can't figure it out.
Right.
I will say
we
back
use the little TV.
back when we had our old IT guy, it was nice. A lot of presentations that they put on there were put up there for them to see, and that's something we don't do
That would be
anymore. So
nice.
I don't know if our IT could maybe when they come here somehow get that up there so we can use that again for presentations because
Yeah.
sometimes it's out in the crowd you don't know what the heck's
It
going on.
would be
Well,
nice.
and more so anybody that watches at home.
Yeah, if we could.
If the presentation.
Yeah.
And that'll only be effective if we have the 2 camera system. Otherwise, they'll never be able to see this TV.
Right. So for the $12,000, it's the
2 cameras, 2 speakers, 12 microphones,
Hardwired.
and everything that's needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that installation too?
Yes. Yeah. And he said he was really happy to see the basement to where you can hide the wires.
Run the wires.
Do we get like a 2-year service technical warranty with that?
There was some warranty into it, yes.
But this TV wouldn't come into play.
No, you could use it.
Okay.
You could use it. Yeah.
And if we needed to get a new TV, we can get one out at Walmart for less than $1,000. That's all I'm gonna
We
say.
can get a really good one for
Yeah.
$1,000.
And the one he had was 70-some inches for $1,000. But I mean that's pretty good size.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my only thing is going out for the one over $10,000 if we need to go out for a bid on it or not.
Well, I've got 3 bids.
Yeah.
I've got 3 bids for it. Now they're not identical, but audio.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're doing everything legal.
Bidding the same concept.
And actually, the other 2, they all have audio, they all have visual, and they have speakers. So.
And the purpose of the bids is frankly to see that we're not wasting money.
Yeah, right.
You've got 3 bids.
Right.
And the one you're presenting us is the lowest of the bids that we've received.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought.
I'll make a motion to allow the purchase of the.
Can we see this contract and stuff first?
I can send it to you.
Can we do that? And
I think I gave it to you, didn't I?
I thought we did.
Yeah, I thought I gave it to you
2 meetings ago. But
Yeah, but we didn't see the other 2.
no, we have to see all 3 of them. Have to be presented.
we've lived this long.
All right.
We can go another 2 weeks.
Can you have them ready for us for that special meeting
Oh,
for
yeah,
next
yeah,
week?
we'll get it.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
There we go.
Add it to that agenda for the special meeting, please, Lisa.
Don't you push that through, sir.
I'm ready for a new mic.
Last
I'm tired of
last
yelling
thing
at.
last thing I have. I just want you to be aware of it, because I'm going to go talk to businesses. Nothing set in stone, just ideas first. I've talked to you about a street plan to help increase parking. And a few people and I've talked, we feel this is one of the best ways you can go to increase parking on Wall Street, is going with angle parking instead of parallel parking like you got. It would increase over 25 parking spots. To do that, it's too narrow to go two ways. So what we're looking at is going one way on Wall Street, one way on First Street. So I want to talk to the stakeholders first. So, and I have already had some good comments from stakeholders that really like the idea, but I want to talk to more.
What business is this?
Where are you?
Where are we at?
That's Joe Fritter's
Yeah, this is
open mortgage.
Common ground.
It will only go one way down to Scott Avenue. It's only going to go one way down to Scott Avenue. After it goes down past Scott Avenue, it'll turn back into two-way. Okay.
That way we will not impede traffic in and out of the fort in any way.
I don't know if anybody's been involved, and no, it has not gone to some of the boards. But well, that's really bad.
This was a test of the emergency rod.
The arch, the downtown arch, this will go right into play with that because it'll basically be your entryway into downtown Fort Scott.
How are big trucks gonna get
Big trucks
for
aren't supposed to
deliveries
be-
for common ground?
They will come down. You can go down your alleys. Alleys will be one way, and you can also, if you gotta go down there, you can still fit through there one way. You can still fit down there one way. They park in the middle of the street anyway most of the time.
Yeah, they go down Main Street now.
So it won't affect them.
Well,
Yeah,
can
not
you
at all.
find out for me if Wall Street's the same width as Main Street? Wallen first, just so we know.
Yep.
So,
It's a little bit wider, but yes.
Get those big old nice trailers.
Well, those big old nice trailers should not be driving down that road, nor should they be making the corner to drive down across a bridge, which is not rated for the weight that they are going across.
They were empty when they went across. It was when they came back across.
That semi does not matter. Its weight is more than the bridge can handle.
But those trailers didn't have any cows in it going that way, but they had cows going this way.
They about ran over the crowd, I'll tell you that.
That was bad.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I gave you my update for the meeting and just some updates beyond that. With the water line extension, as always, the day after I sent that, I received the approval letter. So the water line is approved by the state. So we just need to decide when to put that out to bid, how quickly you want to do that.
Can we go out tomorrow?
No, but I can start.
We're eager.
Been waiting on that for a year.
The next one, the treatment plant stuff. Our wastewater engineer and Peter Earls met with Scott last week, and I think he wants to get on the agenda to present some stuff next meeting. I don't know. Yeah, and Pete will be here for that. 17th and Eddie, I know we approved the change order. I did get a call from AT&T that I missed today, and I called back and left a message. So hopefully they were calling to say they were on the schedule, but I don't know.
And I asked a stupid question here. There's no way we can hold them liable for any of the delays and the extra money that we're having to pay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You can look at your franchise agreement, but it's probably not in there.
Bob, can we sue him? Okay.
I think moving forward, I think what may help, because you have the franchise agreements, and I'll get contacts to Brad, and we had to go through a lot of effort just to find the right person. So hopefully I've got the right people now. So we'll try as we go through the plan development. But if we don't get any response, I'm going to lean on the city to apply some pressure because I don't have any leverage really, but you guys do, I think. So, but it's getting close. So they did say last time we talked to them, it was, we've got 2 weeks to come up with a plan and then we'll get on the schedule. So, which was better than nothing. So hopefully the contractor is tentatively planning to come back early March. So the goal was to have that fixed up by then. So, but I'll call them back tomorrow and try to get something going. The last piece, we worked on the gun park, shower house, and bathrooms. Brad had a couple comments for that. I'm going to revise that and then try to put together a bid package so you guys can get some pricing on those. And I helped with the parking layout. The only thing I think we looked at there, I don't know what the city does for minimum size of a parking stall, but we went with a 9-foot width. Instead, you can go down to like 8.5 and up to 10. So those were laid out at 9-foot width. The depth, we're pushing the limits a little bit because of the width of the streets.
I got a big old Suburban. I don't.
So it makes these big trucks, the 4-door trucks, and the big vehicles.
You got to
it's
think
tight.
about families.
So it's like Main Street. So what happens on Main Street is the same. It's going to be that way on these one-way streets. So it works, but it is pushing the limits of a stall.
Brad, can also on those stalls, can we make sure that we have handicap accessible vans and everything parking since we are doing that splash pad downtown?
Yes.
Have an excessive parking for them.
Sure.
Yeah, and we like to put those kind of at the end of the blocks, so you're close to the wheelchair ramps. Yep. So basically, the last 2 parking stalls shown in a block will turn into one accessible spot, generally. So pending any questions, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Commissioner Jones, do you have any comments this evening?
Yeah, I'll try to go quick. Got the peanut gallery out there. Yeah, we'll skip that then. I noticed last month, Brad, you said something about doing member of the week. I just didn't know if we started that yet or not.
Not yet, no.
And then production timesheets, have we started doing that?
We started doing project timesheets to where it more like a projects instead of daily, because I did some research on daily timesheets. We have nobody to input any of that information, whereas some other areas have that person. We don't have that person. I'd rather not employ.
And it don't have to be exact, but like Cooper Street, for example, like when we're done with that, you can say, hey, we had 120 man hours on it or whatever.
Yep, that's what I'd like to do that. Plus, labor costs is very big, but also time that it takes to where we can justify other projects.
And then going through the action and progress plan, just following up, if you can find out if the cart path repairs were done, the repair on roof on shop 16 was done. Repair roof on shop, or the shop by hole 16, sorry. I know they said it'd be done by February, and so we have this action in progress. I just want to.
What is that again, Josh?
Shop? That's the roof.
Sorry.
Oh.
Roof on shop by hole 16.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just a few of the things, edge outfield at La Roche, Gun Park gazebo, Cherokee. I know we've talked about that for 2 or 3 years up there on top. So
we talked about that at the Parks Advisory Board, and I asked them what their thoughts were because it's falling down.
Yeah.
So they didn't have really much input in it because I think it's really up to us what, or if you want to vote on it or whatever, but it is falling down. Now, if somebody wants it and they can move it, so be it. It may not make it to the next destination, but it's not really too good to repair at this time.
My suggestion is reach out or have Norman or them diagnose it or whatever and see, and if they can reach out to someone. But I guess we might have to make a motion because you don't want to tear that down and get.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make a motion to use Norman's best judgment out there, whether to keep it, fix it, or tear it down. If he is going to fix it, come back to us with a plan.
Okay.
So
I know what his thoughts are. So, gazebo.
Josh, do you want us to second that and vote on it tonight?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Sorry.
So,
and this is the gazebo at the top of the hill by the
house,
by the
shelter
house,
house,
yeah.
or the caretaker's house.
Caretaker's house. Yeah.
so it's the gazebo by the caretaker's house to be brought to us back.
I would leave it up to Norman at the park's judgment if it needs tore down or removed to do that, and if he thinks it can be salvaged, to bring it back to us with a plan
of action.
I can tell you what he's going to say.
Tear it down.
So,
I just don't want to prove it.
Do we want to ask if anybody wants it?
I mean, I would.
If we're going to tear it down, ask if anybody wants it first.
Yeah.
Or ask if there's a group of community-minded citizens who would want to rebuild it for us.
There's also out the park.
Hey, Brad, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We need to
Un momento, por
vote
favor.
on that. Sorry, we can't go into more discussion.
Tim Van Hooking,
Yes.
Katie Harrington,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Edwin Wolhoff, yes, and Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Sorry, Brad.
No, you're fine. There's also an area out at Gun Park. I don't know if any of you would remember this. Used to be a lion's den. It's caving in. Is there something we want to do with that, or can we completely cave it in? Was it bear or lions or something?
Cave.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So
it's
many memories.
yeah.
You need to go out
It
there and
was
fix
fun.
If I knew masonry work, I would.
And it's caving in right now. I mean, we could probably try to salvage it, but it's going to cost us some
I would.
time and
Yeah,
labor.
we might be able to get some donations on that. We might just
Okay.
tell Milburn, and that might be part of his deal.
I can do that. I can ask a couple people to see if they'll do some work for us.
I think that. Oh, did we get the meter set, Jason, for the car wash? I seen it was down to be done by January 31st. Car wash meter set. Had you down. I didn't know if Bill, since Bill's not here, if you would know.
I meter set.
Yeah.
I know they went out there. I'm not sure if they got it done. I'll ask tomorrow during our meeting.
And then I know we talked about the UTV ordinance. I think we really need to bring that back to us just so we can clear up the language because I get so many calls on it. And just for the fact that when we're not here, you're not here in the future, it's just cleanly written.
Okay.
So I just say, if you can bring that back to
You
us,
might write this
suggestions.
down.
I mean, I just know how it goes when we.
Yeah.
Just
No,
so we
that's
know.
what got us in the pickle.
Yeah, just so we know. And
So just so I understand, it's hard to read about inspections. My thought, and it's just my thought, you get it inspected when you buy it, and that's it. So, but
And
I
that
don't have
includes
a
if you-
UTV.
That
so
includes if you transfer and sell it. If
Yes.
I buy one and get inspected and I sell it to you 2 years
I have to
later,
get
you need to get
inspected.
it inspected.
but just
To
each
get it
owner.
licensed.
Yeah, there's a little.
Yes.
They're supposed to have them.
That's
A
what
lot
I'm
of them
saying.
around town don't have the sticker on.
To have it inspected to get it properly licensed through the city.
Yes.
It does not need to be inspected if you are going to use it on your property outside of town.
Right.
We don't have any control of that.
Correct. Or
Yeah,
just
I agree that
correct
the first
language.
time is enough. I mean, we don't inspect
Okay.
cars, and so I think the first time, or whenever it changes ownership, yeah, that's how. Yeah.
Okay. Also, while we're on that, golf carts. Bob might have been involved. Do golf carts, are they supposed to have headlights and tail lights?
If they're going to drive, the ordinance that came out was if they're going to drive after dark, because that was changed, and they were allowed now to drive north and south on National Avenue.
Over 30, yeah.
But the thing with it is if you were driving after dark, and Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you need to have headlights on it, and tail lights, and turn signals. That was the change that we made.
So they don't have to have it getting inspected, but they need to be notified.
That if you're going to drive it at night, you have to have those.
So no inspections on golf carts.
They weren't well. I don't know.
Well, the thing with the golf cart is when you come in to register it, you have to have the serial number and everything on it. You also have to have an insurance card if you're going to drive it on city streets from your insurance provider. So like me, I've got State Farm for my insurance. I have a separate State Farm card for my golf cart.
Okay.
So it doesn't say necessarily inspection on there, but you do have to have it insured and
It does say that in the ordinance.
Is that
they need inspected, the golf carts?
I've lived here 5 years and never had mine looked at.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
want to be consistent. I mean,
here's what I would
that's
do
our
is
problem.
I would send both those ordinance out to us,
Okay.
and we can send back with what we
right
think.
verbiage.
And a difference on a
And then you can put
UTV
it
and a golf
together.
cart is a UTV will hit. Some of these ones, these Can-Ams and stuff running through town here, those things will fly.
Hit 40 something.
I've seen them do 60 as they ramp across National
Yeah.
down there on 10th
My
Street.
golf cart
Yeah.
is pushing
Those
big
razors
time to
can-
hit 30.
Yeah, I've watched those kids come out of the high school, go over football practice, and jump National. Never even stop at the stop signs.
I'll send those to you.
I'll make it real quick on this. Golf course reminded me. I seen the golf court advisory board and been reached out to. I'm sure Tim has about a golf marshal out there on the weekends. I'd seriously want to look into considering that. I think Saturday and Sunday.
I
would
just
be
need
good.
to see what's legal.
Yeah. What do
Talk
you
to
mean?
Bob about what's legal in paying this person.
You don't pay them.
But if you give them a pass,
Yeah.
that might not be legal.
Yeah, I don't know if you can give them a pass. Here's what my concerns about giving a pass is: let's say they get in a fight, they're not on their insurance.
Yeah.
Let's say they wreck the cart. Let's say they, I don't know.
Well, I know that
I'd really
some of the
talk to
courses
Bob
up in
on it.
Kansas City, literally what the deal is you come out here, the weekends are the worst. You come out here on the weekends, you get a free annual membership to play golf. And they're volunteers. Yep. And yeah, my bigger concern out there, I was there Sunday and played, is does our golf course manager work the weekends? Because the last few weekends I've been out there, has seemed understaffed, and I have not seen our manager. And I would think that the manager, just in my opinion, I'm not criticizing her or Doug, but usually the golf course manager is there on the two busiest days of the week. And I have yet to see, in my experience out there, that the golf course manager was there on the weekend.
Because she works all day, every day during the week.
But the key word here is manager in the two busiest days. That's and the poor guy that was there this weekend when we were trying to get served at the turn on 9, there were people lined up out the door almost, and I would still also like to see that sign turned around the way that we talked about, because I had 5 strangers with me that stood there by the clubhouse door, and the way they have that rule sign facing towards the front door, you can't read it unless you're a freaking eagle. Why don't you flip the sign around to where the carts are pulling up that are going out in groups of 10 and 12, and the rules are right there facing where people are in the carts? And I know we talked about this.
I will say, and I know in the summertime they had 2 people working out there on the busy days, so maybe being February, might not have. I mean, it was, but I understand. But that's the other thing. I don't know if it's in our rule book or not, and I don't golf as much as you do, but limit it to I don't know how you word it. Tim or Bob would know. On Saturday and Sunday, 4 person if you're single, and up to 6 if you're scrambling.
Yeah, I would say even 5. Even Crestwood down in Pittsburgh, it's 5 or 6 if you're scrambling and you call ahead. But it's especially with limited daylight hours, it's frustrating when you're out there and you pulling up to a tee box and there's 8-10 carts parked.
And it's a good problem. Like I said, I don't golf as much, but when people call me saying, "Hey, I'm going down to Pittsburgh or Nevada to golf because there's 12 people out here in a hole and I'm waiting," and stuff I don't think about because
you don't golf.
Don't golf.
So
As
to
much.
go back to the very first question, I'd like to get these clubs up in Kansas City. How many of them are municipal? That's where we got to look at by giving passes away to
they're
somebody to
municipal.
work.
Yeah.
With somebody that works, like Josh said, if somebody goes out and gets hurt, gets beat up, hurt, falls off, whatever, who's going to cover that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the only two people talk to insurance company and then labor laws.
Yeah. You can check one in particular that I know of because a guy I used to work with years ago was all thrilled because he was retiring and he was going to go do this. And it's a public course, municipal course. I think it's Tomahawk Golf Club up in Shawnee, Kansas.
St. Andrews, which is owned by the city of Overland Park.
Yeah. And then the only thing is, I don't know if we have a thing on there like we talked about for the how many can golf in a group. So I don't know.
Yeah,
if that's
it's on the sign, but you can't read the sign because it's facing where no one can read.
All right, I'm done. So.
You sure? One more thing.
I'm good for now. I might come back.
You're good, right?
You called me first. I was nervous.
Yeah, right.
Commissioner Van Hookie, do you have anything additionally you'd like to add?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Wanted to get I'm going to go real quick here. Wanted to get a follow up on the alley markings. Are we come up with a pedestrian crossing or some solution for there by Common Grounds drive through?
I did look. I think we can fit a sign on the building.
Okay.
Instead
We
of
might
a
price
crosswalk.
at least maybe price a mirror too for the pedestrians.
A bubble mirror.
So the pedestrians at least can see if someone is pulling out.
And I still believe that the painting to go down on the roadway is probably going to be your best and most highly visible thing because more people, according to the research that I did, look at the roadway and see the signs written on the road than they do the signs that are side on the edge of the road.
Not people that have just grabbed their hot Hoko Lucky Chucky Mochaccino and they're pulling away from the drive-through. Yeah, parked on the sign that you want them to see, but we can agree to disagree on that. But I think an easy solution is also see if Common Ground will put a sign next to their drive-through window that says, "Please be careful of pedestrians when exiting," because then it's right there where they're getting. But that's just my opinion. Next time I had, do we have any update? People have been reaching out to me on US 69 as far as when the traffic lights are going to be done and we're going to get both lanes back.
The answer I get is not real nice. You know,
Well, I've seen them out there working on them.
Weather permitting. That's pretty much what I get.
Okay, and then I want to get with Bob if no one else on the commission has an issue with it and to go through some of our codes procedures that we have that are on the books right now. They're very cumbersome, but what I'm finding is in a lot of these violations that we are working our codes team to do duplicate work. They write a letter, it goes out, person has 10 days to correct it. If they correct it, that's great. Yes, sir. Well, I've been talking to them about it.
They say it takes forever to go to court, and the court takes forever, whatever. And my comment was, what's your letter say? Well, it says you're going to do this.
Yeah.
If you don't, within 10 days or whatever the letter says, we're going to come out and do it, and we're going to assess it.
Yeah.
Can we do that? I said, yes.
But
we were trained to go to court. I said, you don't have to go to court.
Well, here's the issue with that, though, Bob, is in some cases is that I know of 2 different places where people complain about garbage. So they write a letter, they get 10 days, maybe they get rid of it. The next month, the same situation's right there again. Codes goes out, writes and sends another letter.
What do you suggest we shoot to a homeowner?
No, what I suggest is from a common sense standpoint, if because they know how many times a particular residence has had it, so you get one,
Or,
you get
yeah,
another
say you
one,
get one for-
you're fine.
You get another one in 60 days, or
Yeah.
we need to put a time frame on it.
Or what I've suggested multiple times is we either start utilizing the computer system that our codes department has and find a way to integrate the system to be able to take care of these step-by-step procedures for us, so that our codes people are not spending all of their time writing the letters and sending them out. There are computer programs available where our codes people could show up on site, take a picture, file it. It sends the letter automatically. The computer does the steps for them, so they don't have to address it again. If the homeowner doesn't complete the steps and it doesn't get entered back into the system, automatically the citation goes to the municipal court. The codes officers don't even have to go to court. The fine is
Yeah, but the
processed
codes
and
officers
paid.
will have to validate that there was a second or a
Yes.
third violation. So what I'm saying is,
But that's as simple as clicking a button on the
I
computer.
think everybody in this town is intelligent, and no one should be saying, we have a house out there that's 7 times in a year, and I'm like, oh well, gee, you sent me a letter and told me I needed to clean it up this month, but you didn't say I had to do it next month and the month after that one, and so on and so forth. So.
People that don't have enough sense to come in out of the rain.
Well, it's time to go home.
It's time to go home, Bob. I'm going to ask you to stop right there, my friend.
Yeah, but if maybe a second offense, third offense type thing.
Yeah, then it's not any more letters. It's boom, you're cited.
Yeah. I mean, there's some inoperable vehicles on the books that the codes guys have had
Same
for
thing.
almost 30 years.
Same thing. Okay.
I want this problem solved too. 'Cause
Okay,
I hate garbage.
Yeah, and I'm good with Tim and Matt or whatever putting something together to bring it towards us.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help you, Tim, because I'm passionate about finding a solution to that.
As long as nothing we work on has the word bricks in it.
That's right. Don't touch my brick streets, brother.
So anyway, also I want to make sure congrats to Brad and Travis and to our new chief. And he's probably watching tonight going, how long has he had to sit back there? But I want to say many thanks. I attended this week last week the Fort Scott Ford, and I saw Commissioner Harrington there as well. It was a great event. You name the group, they were there. Everywhere from CASA to the Special Olympics group to the feeding families in his name. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I sure am. But I mean, great group, great event, great idea. Get out and get involved in something if you want to make change. And finally, this is actually my last item. Go Chiefs.
Commissioner Harrington.
A couple things. Boat ramp will be closed. Brad, correct?
Yep, it'll be closed Thursday until the 20th.
We're-
And it's on Facebook.
Okay. Boat repairs.
And I sent a text
You
to
did?
Nancy. Yes.
Perfect. Shelter house repairs. They're still working on that. That won't be closed.
Out the lake?
Yes.
Yes. They're waiting for warmer weather, then they'll be able to paint.
Okay. I want to say congratulations to Kate and Trent. They had a ribbon cutting. That was a great event. Except for those darn
Semis driving down the non-truck route. Yes. Yes.
Good work on
We have a
that.
problem with the truck route in town. Apparently, people can't read signs. It's tragic.
We have the Pinewood Derby this weekend, Saturday. Don't forget that. We have the Love Local Chocolate Crawl downtown event. That's Friday and Saturday. And then we have the Illusionists coming on the 17th. If you want tickets, they are still available. That's all I got.
All right. Commissioner Wolhoff, do you have any additional comments?
No comments. Except for saying, agree with Tim, go Chiefs.
I have a couple of quick comments. One was, can we set up a couple of AB3 storage spots, possibly one over next to Public Works and one at another location, and then on, say, like a rain day when the guys have an opportunity, we could truck AB3 from the county quarry and have it stored in certain spots so that we're not sending guys out to get a load of AB3 when we need it, that we have a stockpile here in town ready
Well, I
to
know
go.
we have one pile.
Yes.
We can make others, yeah.
Okay. I know we had talked in the past about having department heads occasionally come before the commission, just give us a report? Is that something we were still considering having done?
Yeah, we did that a couple years ago. They would rotate,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily, I know Bruner can vouch. He loves being here.
I was gonna say, Dave will do the first 4 months.
I think before they'd have one or two, but yeah, they'd always have one. You know, and
Okay.
I would suggest like if the meeting before, maybe if we have any things like Katie said about the shelter house out there, so maybe we can have Doug give an update or the boat ramp or something.
I just didn't know about setting them up on a cycle. So, like once a month, we would have each department head kind of.
We
come
can have
in
them come in and do their AIG list.
Okay, and then
or
they'd be able to,
AIP list.
because then we can applaud all the stuff that they're getting accomplished as well, and get a little bit more information out to the citizens about all of the great projects that these guys are getting done on a consistent basis, which is something I feel like we need to just continue to push forward more, the amount of work that they're getting done in our town.
We had at one point, I'd suggested just a 4-blocker SWOT analysis that each department head could say, this is my department's strengths, this is our weaknesses, this is our opportunities for improvement, this is what we consider to be a threat.
Yes.
And something quick, short, and to the point, just bullet points.
Great idea. Yes.
So maybe that's what when they come here, each one over the next whatever, they can bring a little SWOT analysis.
We actually have that done.
Okay.
We have this. These guys have done it too. SWOT analysis.
I mean, bullet points are nice because then if we have any questions on that individual point, and to your point, it gives them the credit and the exposure and the accolades that they deserve.
Yep. As far as tracking the guys where they are, their hours, things like that on Cooper Street and all that, is there an app? I know with a lot of places you can have an app on your phone so that they're not having to try to fill out a bunch of extra paperwork, make a phone call. They can literally just tag themselves, geolocate on their phone, hit it, it logs when they get there, when they leave.
I'm sure there is.
Okay.
I mean, we just have to find one that's compatible with what we've got. And we used to use a system out of Peerless that was pretty good, but I don't know if it'd work for something like what we need. I am looking at a C-Click Fix again.
Heard of that.
So I think
actually thought
it's.
C-Click Fix was really good. It was underutilized.
I think it could be utilized more, and here's the reason I say that is when I put my email out there, I get a lot of feedback, and most of it's good. So
It's, I mean, it's that it really is a good product.
Did we never move forward on the Dude Solutions thing and all that?
I canceled it.
Okay.
So I mean, it was due up, and I didn't think we wanted to spend $15,000 for it.
Right. Okay.
So,
all right.
And plus, for that, I talked to the 3 directors that were involved, and they couldn't stand it because it was too hard for them to use.
No.
So
yeah, whatever we can have that's efficient, easy to use for people. That's what I'm. And then, do we have anybody that goes out is out at stationed at the airport on the weekends?
Yes.
Okay.
Not on Sundays.
Not on Sundays.
No.
Okay.
Not on Sundays. Brian works Saturdays.
Okay.
He works Wednesday through Saturdays, I do believe. 10-hour days. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Sunday was the day that had been brought to me that
nobody's
nobody
ever
was
worked
ever
out there on
Okay.
Sunday. Now if you need them, they're
They
on
can
call.
come. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, I'll agree with everyone else. Go Chiefs. Bob, do you have any comments this evening? Well, in that.
Well, I told you it was time to go home because I was trying to protect you over there.
Nothing additionally. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Josh Jones?
Yes.
Tim Van Hookie?
Yes.
Katie
Yes.
Harrington? Edmund Wolhoff? Matthew Wells?
Yes, meeting adjourned.
Jeez.
Well, I'm part of Rotary, so I know that's why I figured that's what helps. Probably not, but I mean, they really did.